Montrell. How are you doing this week, sir?
Not gonna lie, I had a wasn't a shitty week, it was a blah week, but today, woke up on the wrong side of the bed.
Mm,
Uh, just it's just one of those days where you have to or one of those weeks you have to handle business and stuff like that and all
yeah.
that good stuff and everything like that. And took me an hour and a half to get to work where it normally takes me 30
Ooh.
minutes because
Uh,
a pickup truck or not pickup truck, but a semi covered like 30, 35. All 35 was shut down. So it took me an hour and a half to get to work. So once I got to work, I did my work or whatever. And I mean, it started to go up from there. I was able to buy a pair of shoes that I really wanted. That usually are sold out as soon as they come out, but I was picked out of the raffle to get the shoes, and I got the shoes I wanted.
okay.
And then Deanna sent me flowers and chocolate to work randomly because I was having a tough day.
Man, she's
Uh,
buying you Starfield, sending you fucking flowers, and what? Man, Montrell, you must be an excellent
I am a shitty husband. I don't know.
husband.
I don't know. I don't think I am. I think I'm okay. Then I got home and then she bought me because I don't really like to drink alcohol anymore.
Mhm.
So just because it's too light or it's too heavy rather. Any
Yeah.
alcohol I drink is like way too heavy. So only one I like to drink is sake.
Mm.
And we went to a sushi spot the other day. And I was like, yeah, I can drink sake, but I can't drink anything else because sake is like super light. So she bought me a sake set with the whole stone things and everything, so I could put it in the microwave, make hot sake real quick. And I got
Mhm.
the bottle of sake. So she bought me that today. She bought me something called summer robes or like light robes that you wear in the summer.
Mm.
Uh, then she bought me I had like at my old place, I had a Buddhist temple or a Buddhist statue of Buddha, uh, and it was a water fountain. And I used it to like kind of meditate and just chill out. I'm not a Buddhist or anything, but I use it to meditate and chill out. But she bought
Mm.
me a fountain. It broke. The little motor broke, so I had to get rid of it. But she bought me a fountain with like candles and stuff like that,
Mhm.
so I can. It does this essentially the same thing. So I am happy to have that. I just found out I had all this stuff literally before I got on the podcast today.
Man,
So
Jesus, you're getting spoiled over there.
yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, my week's been it's been okay. I'm just tired. I'm fucking tired right now, dude. I've been working. I worked like 16 hours Monday, like 15 hours yesterday. So I'm just tired right now. Haven't had a lot of time to game. Football started this past weekend. It's so I'm trying to squeeze it in, but it's been a little rough this week, and I'm still watching. Did I mention this in the pod last week? I don't remember, but Vinland Saga. I'm still watching that, so been kind of watching that as well. But work's going okay. It's just a lot right now. But other than that, yeah, life's been just trying to grind through it, you know. So, all right, Montreal. Well, let me go through the rigmarole and we can get started here. Um, so hi everybody, welcome to the Players Take. This is episode 238. I'm your host, as usual, Justin DeSimone, joined by my co-host Montreal Rice.
Hey, step up to the mic a little bit more.
We
Sorry to
we
interrupt you.
uh we entered the show um a little casually today. Hold on, I'm gonna fix my volume here. All right, there we go. Is that better?
Yeah, you were going in and out, so
Okay,
it wasn't
gotcha.
bad, but I can tell you were like fading in and out.
Yeah. Um. So this is episode 238. This is our weekly show. We talk about video games, video game news, and other topics pertaining to video games. We post at 6 a.m. Central Time on Fridays on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and your favorite podcast app of choice. And if you'd like to send us questions, you can do so on Twitter at The Players Take, or you can send us an email, playerstake01 at gmail.com. Montreal, we got a little icebreaker this week. You posted in the chat earlier that League is going to be
Yeah.
removing mythics in
Yes.
2024. Are you
Yeah.
coming back?
Yeah, I did say on the podcast that if they remove mythics, I will give it a chance and come back.
Hmm.
And it looks like they are removing mythics. I remember they did say earlier, um, I think it was a gameplay thing they did mid-season. This is around the time
Hmm.
right after I quit. They released that video, and they said that they were going to test the mythics out and they're going to do some more stuff with it. And if it wasn't working out, then they're just going to outright remove them. They did say that like earlier this year, and I didn't think they were going to remove them. I thought they were going to at least keep it for like another season and then go and then maybe remove some mythics or try another system out. But I will give them the props. At least they saw something that wasn't working and they said, hey, we're going to try to go back. Usually some development teams or some teams will try to stick it out and thug it out and try to force it on the players. um, but they said that they can't really balance it, and we saw it live, like me
Hmm.
and you
Oh
saw it,
yeah.
everybody saw it. And I like one thing they said in here, where it's about champion expression, where uh the champion, it's hard for them to balance the items or the champions around the items instead of balancing the items around the champions, which I really like that line because we said that when we were playing, that you can't balance the items and the champions. It was giving champions that were designed like Garen, for instance, right?
Yeah.
uh in Stride Breaker, he was getting a dash where he's not designed to do that, so it inherently breaks Garen when you play against him, or Darius when you play against him top lane or something like that. And other little things too, where you have like immobile ADCs, but you give them Gale Force, and now they're mobile again. Now they're
Hmm.
mobile and like broken,
Yeah.
So like they were designed around certain concepts to be countered, and these items are breaking that counter where they're just broken at this point. And and on top of that, they had the balance the other items around it. One infamous example is like Bork, or Blade of the Rune King. It's
Hmm.
always been like a really strong item even before Mythics came out. But it essentially turned Aurelia into a Bork delivery system, where she just built Bork one item and then she can steamroll everybody in the entire game. Um, and she didn't used to be that powerful. She was always a powerful champion, but she didn't used to be that powerful. Um, and on top of that, like they were trying to balance the things around fighters, which I think fighters is a hard thing to balance around anyway. Fighters and what they call them, brawlers, fighters, and there's another word they call them as well. I forgot. But essentially that class is really hard to balance because it is a tank class and it's a ADC, and it's a attack damage class as well. So like people like Warwick, Udyr, Aurelia, and things of that nature. Those are like brawlers, or even what's his face, the guy that used to pick all the time on top lane. I forgot his name already. Set.
Set. Yeah.
Yeah, Set. So like those are like brawlers or whatever the case may be,
Hmm.
and that's always been a hard class to balance. But with the mythics, it was either they were super broken or they were super weak. There was no in between. With the old items, it used to be like some of them are broken, but not all of them are broken, or some of them are bad, but not all of them are bad. But it usually came down to their stats. Like they just had to move some stuff around their kit or their stats, and that would be fine. It wasn't really the items. But the
Hmm.
items themselves are just making it was League of Items. It wasn't League of Legends. That's what I felt like when I was playing the game. I was picking champions based off the items that they can break. And I didn't like that. When I saw myself doing that, I'm like, okay, well, this champion can use this item, and this item is pretty broken right now. And I need to play this champion because he can just abuse this right now. And
Yeah.
that's where it became a issue for me personally.
Yeah, I'm with you, dude. I'm thinking back to when we were playing, right? And I'm the kind of MOBA player, like, and I think this is the way MOBAs should be designed. Is I pick my characters based on their play style, like what I like to play in a character, and that has nothing to do with their items, for
Yeah.
me. The items either enhance that or change it in some way, or complement the loadout in some way. It shouldn't warp what the character is capable of doing to such a degree that it's like you're unstoppable.
Yeah.
Or just like an item like Heartsteel that we complain about a lot, or even like fucking Jock Show and stuff like that. That like they made these characters so tanky. They're designed to be tanks, but it's like you take it to such an extreme that they're unkillable. You remember that
Yeah.
Mundo game where that dude had like 10,000 HP? At the end of the game, like what are we even doing at this point? At that,
Well, you remember
like,
that brief moment I was playing top lane and I started playing Jax and I was
yeah,
absolutely dominating everybody when I played
yeah,
Jax.
oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, but that's like a kit thing, right? With him, like he dominates people because of his kit, not necessarily like the items obviously make it work really well, but he just has a kit that's designed to win a 1v1,
Yeah.
And that's okay. That's not a problem necessarily to have, as much as like, I've complained about Jax. We've all complained about Jax, right? He's a
Yeah.
pain in the ass, but you can beat Jax later in the game. He's kind of a
Yes.
early to mid
Yeah.
game terror, but later in the game, if you haven't fed him too hard, you can deal with him. He's not a great team fight character,
Yeah,
like
exactly. Yeah.
so it's not like he's unstoppable, and I think that's where your balance comes from. It might be miserable for the player playing against him in lane, and that's going to be true, and I think that is a little tough, but I mean that's true in Dota as well. Like there are characters like that are fucking hardcore, like really strong in lane, and that's where they're strong, but they're not strong later in the game.
Yeah.
And that's okay. You can have characters like that. I don't think that's necessarily a problem. But the items created situations with, you're talking about like Aurelia, right? Like she was like a fucking like infamous, like just anytime Aurelia's in the game, I'm just like, what are we're fucked. We're done. The game's fucking over. We already
Well,
lost.
well,
It's
because
like, and I
we
shouldn't
we
feel
would
that way.
exactly because we would get her down. Like it wasn't like our top laners were bad. Like we
Yeah.
would like either if I was jungling, I would make sure that she would be 0 and 5 in lane or something like that. And that
Yeah.
was the problem with Aurelia. She would be 0 and
It
5,
didn't
0 and
matter.
7,
Yeah.
0 and 10. She
Yep.
gets borked and then she's just killing everybody. And we're,
Yep.
we're like, we can't
Yep.
even stop her now.
Yep.
It wasn't fun. I did want to read like one paragraph here that kind of like tunes in with what you're saying in here. It's called Power Budgets and Items. And this is what the designers actually wrote. Balancing the champion's total power budget is done by considering their kit, items, summer spells, runes, etc. This innately means that if an item takes up a significant portion of this power budget, then other aspects like the ability to take up the ability needs to take up a small amount, or needs to take up a smaller amount rather.
Mm-hmm.
After observing the past few years, we think even unique item effects in the legendary item system is overriding champions gameplay too much, and would like to reduce that by some amount. This will allow more of the champion's unique gameplay to shine rather than the champion delivery system for upfront burst damage procs, as an example.
Yeah.
So I mean that pretty much speaks to what we were saying. Like they even recognize that, how you just said, the items were dictating the champions. And I actually went to the Reddit when this was released as well, and I saw a lot of people comparing it to Dota. So there are, for a lot of people in the league Reddit to be playing Dota, in my opinion, shows that they saw that they were just losing a massive amount of players. It wasn't
Yeah.
just me then.
Yeah.
Like people were like, "Yeah, I'm about to just go play Dota." Like it's
Well,
it's a better game.
I'd be curious to see the player numbers on Dota too. Are they going up recently? Like that's an interesting thing. That's on the league Reddit. I mean, I think what I want to see Riot do. This is great. This is a great decision on their part, but how they execute it matters, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because obviously, I do expect the initial drop of this to be really bad, and things are going to be fucking out of whack and unbalanced. You're going to have characters
Yep.
that are awful, and items that are worthless and shit like that. But I think the design space for the way they design items in League is a little too strict, and I think they wanted to use Mythics as an attempt to kind of break out of their design space with items. But I think they approach it in the wrong way, like to me, because they seem to be they want to they want the game to progress in a linear fashion for players, where you kind of you build your first item, and then you build your second item, and then you build your third item. There's not really like you don't build parts of an item and keep those parts necessarily for any stretch of the game. It's like your goal is to go for a very specific item. Whereas like Dota, is a little bit more freeform with item designs. Like there are items that cost you 2,000 gold that have an impact throughout the game. And these are
Hmm.
items generally I'd say supports it's more common for them to use these items where they're not power spiking items in the sense of like they're giving you massive stat gains or anything like that, but they have an effect that is really potent in the hands of certain characters, you know, and that can be true for carry type items as well. Though there are items that exist that are kind of mid tier items that
Yeah.
cost like 2 or 3,000 gold, and they do a certain thing, and you'll use that for a portion of the game. And that is an item you're using early. You know, it's like an early game item, but it's not intended to be there when you're at the 45-minute mark. You would have sold it by that point and bought something else, to replace it. And I'd kind of like to see League experiment with that kind of design space a little bit more with the items because there's very few, if any, items that I can even think of that are like that in League, where it's like something you use for 15 minutes or 20 minutes and then you sell it and get a better item to fill that slot, or you keep
Yeah.
it until you can fill it later by, you're in your sixth slot, you're six slotted or something like that.
So what's funny about that is it used to be that way. It wasn't extreme.
Hmm.
Every character didn't have that type of item build,
Yeah.
but certain characters did have that to where they kept the item for like maybe 15 minutes or to 20 minutes or whatever. And then
Yeah.
either the item itself would change or they would just change the item out until they get more gold or whatever the
Right.
case may be. So that
Right.
was a thing. The thing I want to come back, which I actually was just looking at Dota gameplay. I still can't play it. I don't still think I'm going to play it, but I was just looking at it
Come
in the
on.
items and stuff
Just
like
do it.
that.
Just do it. Just do it.
One thing that I do like that League used to have was activatables or actives
Yeah.
that you can activate in the items, and they're essentially a part of your kit. And I want that to return to League because Akali was one famous example, which is why me and Brad love Akali so much. Was she was terrible in the hands of a terrible player who didn't know how to itemize it. Right? She had even when she was quote unquote broken, she had like a 50 or 40% win rate.
Hmm.
And that was like her most broken state when
High
she was
skill
considered
ceiling
broken.
character.
Yeah, she was a high skill ceiling character.
Or
That's
high
because you
skill
had to know.
floor even.
Yeah, that's because you had to know how to use the item combos in tandem with her abilities. So it was just the only thing that was really broken on her was her shroud. It would block or it would cover her from tower shots. But besides that, everything else, I feel like if you CC'd her or locked her down, she was done. But she just had a high skill ceiling, like you said, or a high skill floor. Um, and they took all that away when the mythics came out, and I didn't like that. Which is why I love Hex
Mhm.
Tech Gun Revolver or Hex Tech Gunblade, because it was one of those items that if it was used correctly, it can show a lot of skill expression. And they just got rid of all that, and I didn't like that. Another thing that I like that Dota does, right? Say like if you get the item for Blink in Dota or
Mhm.
Dash or whatever the case,
Right.
the item stats were significantly weak, but you weren't getting it for that. You were getting it for the tool or the ability that it gives you or the utility. You're getting it for the blink. And I kind of want to see that in League. So like, yeah, let's if we do get an item that has a dash in it, that has like a Gale Force dash in it, right?
Yeah.
That item can be super weak, but what you're getting out of that is the
No,
dash.
it's
You know what I'm
literally
saying?
it costs as much as another item, but it
Yep.
literally all it has is a dash. That's it. That's all the item does. That's what Blink Dagger is in Dota. It's like a mid tier item in terms of cost, but it
Hmm.
allows you to blink. It's like Flash in League.
Yeah.
And it allows you to blink. They have recently introduced a version of those items that's upgradable. But it costs as much as more as items that do a lot more, so it's kind of just an upgrade path for a blink dagger to kind of make it more useful late game. So it isn't
Yeah.
a boondoggle necessarily for characters that need stats. But it's not as powerful as something that's a pure statistic item,
Yeah.
or
And I
has a
like that
carry
trade off.
potential. Yeah.
And I like that trade off. You get that powerful ability, but you don't get the powerful stats. So it's like, which do you want for your team comp? Do you want the blink or do you want the stats? And I
Yeah.
like that.
Right.
And with like Gale Force, you were getting everything. You were getting the dash, the crit, the attack speed,
Yep.
all that
Move
stuff,
speed too.
and the move speed. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it wasn't any downsides to some of these mythics. And like even for Heartsteel, right? I would like Heartsteel on paper as a juggernaut, if there was some type of like debuff to it, right? Or you were losing something for it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I can stay in fights longer, but my my attack damage goes down the longer I stay in fights or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
something. Whereas like the heart steel when it first came out, and then when we were playing it, a lot of people say it's dead now, but like when we were playing it, like the more you stayed in fights, like it was
Yeah.
just a benefit to you. There was really like no benefit to not you wanted to fight more, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It was I'm glad that you're getting rid of them. I'm glad they saw that they weren't really healthy for the game. And I didn't watch LCS or Worlds this year. So it must have been something that happened in Worlds that they were just like, yeah, we we can't do this anymore. This is insane. So yeah.
All right, Montrell, let's move on to what we've been playing. Do you want to go first this week?
Yeah. So I haven't actually been playing Starfield, or I'm gonna get to Starfield in a minute.
Oof,
Um,
uh-oh. Oh no.
or
Has the honeymoon phase ended?
yeah, it has. Uh, so I jumped back into Armored Core a little bit, and I didn't play it too much this week.
Yep.
Just because I don't know, I wasn't really feeling it. It's nothing wrong with the game at all. I just I need to get back into it. I got to get my mind wrapped around it. I've been doing a lot of stuff this week.
Yep.
But they did come out with some buffs for the rifles in Armored Core, which I am glad because the
Ooh.
rifles were kind of subpar. So they did
Okay.
buff the rifles.
I like to hear that because
Unfortunately,
I like the rifles.
yeah. So yeah, if you like the rifles, then they definitely buffed them, and I think they buffed the Gatling gun too as well.
Wait, what?
So yeah, I think they buffed it. I
Isn't
wanted.
that the most broken? Isn't that like part of the most broken build in the game?
I don't. I it was it. It wasn't broken for
Yeah,
me.
bro. People, the builds I saw were like double Gatling guns on tank legs, and you
Oh
had
my god, that
you had
would be
those over the shoulder
terrible.
plasma cannons that can charge,
Oh my
dude.
god. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's bad. Maybe
yeah,
they
and they
didn't buff
buffed
it.
it. What?
Maybe they
What?
didn't buff it. Maybe they didn't
Okay,
buff it. I gotta check it. I
okay,
know they buffed almost all the rifles except for the plasma rifle. I don't think they buffed the plasma
yeah,
rifle.
okay.
Um, they didn't nerf the Zimmermans, which I still think they should nerf the Zimmermans. Even though I like the Zimmermans, I think they should just nerf them.
Yeah.
Uh, just not outright nerf them, but like give them a soft nerf. Maybe just nerf the damage, but increase the
Well, what
lethal
are
stagger
those? I'm
damage.
sorry.
Those are the shotguns.
Oh, really? Okay, I haven't
Yeah.
used shotguns at all, actually.
Oh my, bro, those things are
I probably
broken.
should. No,
Yeah, those are
I
broken.
I didn't have one, or I would have used it against Balteus. Like I
Okay.
figured that would have been a good weapon against him, the way
Yeah,
his abilities worked.
that shit can stagger people in almost like 2 shots. It's
Yeah.
actually insane. It's actually
Okay.
insane.
Okay.
So if you have double ones, you can stagger somebody with like one shot if you get, both shots land at the same time.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But yeah, so they didn't nerf that, which I'm kind of glad. I think they're trying to let it cook for a minute to see if the rifle changes will kind of offset that, which I think it will. But yeah, so for everybody though, this is a bummer to me because they did this with Dark Souls, or not Dark Souls, but Elden Ring, as well. But I don't like it. But remember Radon? They nerfed
Mm,
Radon, right? I
yeah.
beat him right before the nerf. So they did
Yeah.
the same thing with Balteus, and they did the same thing with
Oh.
Sea Spider. If you haven't fought the Sea
Wait.
Spider
So
yet,
when did this happen this week?
yeah, this all
Okay. So
happened.
I can
You
say
beat
at
him.
least that I beat pre-nerf
Yeah.
Balteus.
And I saw the nerf that they did. They said they made changes to attack patterns or missiles or whatever. For like almost all the bosses, like almost all the hard bosses that people were complaining about. Um, his missiles are like super slow now. Like they used to be fast, and I think it's more fair though because like when you pass the missiles, right? Like say if you dodge the missiles,
You're not dodging all of them.
you're not dodging all of them because they will actually curve back into
Yeah,
you off
there's no
screen.
the way the missiles work is I'm kind of disappointed that they did this though, because I personally think it makes sense for the way the game is designed that the missiles worked this way, that
Hmm.
it was really difficult to dodge an entire volley of missiles, and I think that makes sense. They are shooting 100 at you, like no shit, you're not gonna dodge them all. But also I think the other reason they were hard to dodge is because they wouldn't all turn and target you at the same time. It would happen in a kind of like a domino cascade almost.
Yeah.
And so if you timed your dodge for the very beginning of the missile volley shooting at you, the back end of it would probably hit you. Like a large portion of it would probably hit you unless you dodged again.
Yeah.
So yeah, it sounds like it's going to be a lot easier though to avoid those.
Yes, they are a lot easier. It's pretty much they got rid of the boomerang effect, what I call it, like
Yeah.
so the missiles can curve back. They don't
Yeah.
curve back as hard anymore, and they would just literally just hit the ground sometime.
Okay.
So uh, a lot of people said that, and they did used to work like that in Armored Core, the original Armored Cores. So they kind of nerfed them back to what they were originally.
Yeah.
But I think it's still a bullshit nerf because I like Balteus. I like the missiles. I liked that I had to manage my dodge because I can dodge all of the missiles or whatever. Even with like a light or a medium build, you could dodge the missiles. You just had to
Yes.
time your dodges or your boosts correctly. And I think, in my opinion, it does the players a disservice because now you don't really. I mean, you still learn boost management with other mechanics in the game and all the bosses and enemies you have to fight. But yeah, I don't know. It just really. I learned a lot of boost management because of that. Because
Yeah,
of
but
that
they
fight.
have data, dude. I bet they have data. Those two bosses were probably hard blocking a large portion of
Yes.
the player base.
Yeah, it
Like
was.
they
It was.
must have data. There's no way. Like I don't know. They're pretty stubborn. I don't feel like they would s-
Nerfs.
they would nerf this stuff unless there was a really good reason for it. You know. And
Yeah,
there.
I
So
think you're right. I think they read the data, especially if they're going by the Steam charts. They probably saw a
well, the
large
Steam
portion of.
reviews, Balteus is like the people fucking dude. That boss is all over that shit. It's so funny.
Really, I didn't even check the Steam
The
reviews.
attack helicopter in the tutorial too. People had a lot of issues with that one, which is funny.
Okay, so yeah, I know they nerfed attack helicopter. They nerfed Balteus, and they
Wait, they
nerfed.
nerfed the attack helicopter? Come
Yeah,
on, it's not
yeah.
that hard, bro. I
I think they touched almost every major boss in the game.
don't
I,
know. Okay.
I want to say they didn't give any specific things that they touched, but the first videos I saw popping up after the patch came out was Balteus, and I know the Sea Spider, that one got nerfed as well.
Okay.
So I had problems with the Sea Spider, but like
I think
I
that's the one
beat
I'm
him.
about to fight, isn't it?
Yeah.
End of chapter two.
So
Yeah.
um yeah, I don't know how to feel about that, but I think it's okay for me. Like it makes the game a little bit less stressful, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah, it's fair.
Um, but at the same time, I'm not okay with it because I'm like, damn, I missed some of these bosses at their like peak, you know.
No,
So
this is my thing. This is my thing, though, right? I think for a developer like FromSoft, this has got to be a thought that I think they should consider in the future is, um, make another, make a way for people to fight that old version. You know, the old version of these
mm,
bosses, because
yeah,
I hate the fact that Radon or whatever that boss was nerfed in Elden Ring because I want to fight the original version of that, right? And beat that. That's kind of the point of the game to me. Is that challenge, you know, is
hmm
building yourself up to that challenge and beating it. Um I don't want to fight a reduced version. And it's like it almost taints my playthrough now whenever I do play the game. I'm gonna be like, oh, I beat Radon, and people are like, well, you beat it after the nerf. Oh, you're not that good. Like, you know, it's like I don't know. It's like I think there should be a way to not necessarily do it within a playthrough. Like I'm not saying you need to be able to change that difficulty on the fly for each boss. I mean, you could add a way to do it, I guess, like a shrine you go pray at and Radon is weaker, you know, it's like or you pray at it again and you're like, well, I want a bigger challenge this time and you know, Radon's hard again. It's like um but I think in Armored Core it's easier because you have a mission list, so you could just
mm,
have different versions of the same mission, you know, where you have,
yeah,
you know, difficulty tied to that potentially. I don't know. I think I think in a single player game like this, or mainly single player game, where the idea is that it's challenging, taking away that challenge is like there is some degree of I don't know, it hurts what you're trying to do from in a design space, you know, and I think just giving people the option, you know. But
yeah,
I guess this is the reverse argument though of easy mode, right?
exactly, yeah,
So I don't
exactly.
know. Maybe not. Maybe not. If this is what they want to do, then it's their game, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, maybe it wasn't their vision for the bosses to be that hard.
Yeah.
Like they wanted it to be hard, but they when they released it, they're like, "This is my vision for the boss," and then people were like, "Whoa!" And they're like, "Okay,
But then they
maybe I
realize
can."
players are having trouble, and it's like,
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
yeah,
And
maybe we tuned it a little too hard, you know?
yeah, exactly. And I feel the same way for like the Radon. I feel exactly the way you feel about Radon because once I beat him, I was like, that fight was epic because of not only because of that, because his lore, and he
Yeah.
was like the only boss where you have to summon other spirits to beat him, and it was really cool because you were fighting on like a battlefield, and there
Hmm.
was a whole bunch of like swords everywhere
Yeah.
and everything like that. So it felt like you were actually on like a war battlefield with him, going to war with your army, and it was just really fucking cool. You can still do the same thing now, but obviously he's like nerfed to shit now. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it's not the same. Balteus, I feel like the missile thing makes sense, and I understand. And I'm not gonna lie, I understand why people are getting upset because even when I dodged, I'm like, man, I shouldn't have to. I completely surpassed like him as far as
Bro,
missile barrage.
it's a hard
You know,
element of the fight.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's just the
So
constant pressure the boss puts on you in that fight where, dude, I mean, you're it's like every other move is a missile salvo. you know? So you're like constantly dodging missiles and then he shoots the fucking grenade launcher rocket at you or the rocket he shoots at you or whatever that fucking basically stuns you
yep,
instantaneously. And sometimes the missiles force you to dodge towards that, and that's really bad. Like you're
yep,
probably going to get hit if that happens. That's the reason the fight is difficult, is that's pressure. So like taking that pressure off, I think you're going to give the players a lot larger windows to do damage, because that's the issue in the fight, is finding windows to actually hit the boss,
yeah, yeah,
safely. Because you're constantly being pressured like that. So I think, if the missiles are slower, you can literally just watch the animation happen and fucking shoot him, swing at him, and you have plenty of time to dodge now. Suddenly, it's like,
yeah,
so it kind of changes the whole fabric of the fight, to me. But it's fine. I haven't done it though. I haven't done it with the nerf. So I mean, I'll have
yeah.
to see, and I'll let you know how the spider goes when I fight that thing. So
Yeah. I can't remember. I have gameplay of the spider, but to me, the spider wasn't really that hard. I was just frustrated. I think I was tired when I was fighting the spider the first time.
yeah,
And then once I came back and I was okay, I beat him. But yeah, I mean, he's all right. But I can see why players would have issues with him because he has a weird attack pattern sometimes. So, or
yeah,
he did rather. So
yeah.
I'm not too sure. So the next game I've been playing was Starfield, and uh, so I'm having a blast with. I was having a blast with the game, but I did notice that I was starting to get a little bit bored, even with the main campaign. There's a ton of shit you can do. You can do all the different faction quests and everything like that.
Mhm.
Um, but I feel like it's not like the game is unfinished. I feel like they needed to add more. Um, I don't, as of right now, I want to build like bases and do stuff like that, like I can do in Fallout 4. But I don't feel like it's there to the extent that
Mm.
that Fallout 4 had. And Fallout 4 had DLC, so that's why the base building is like really good now. And maybe it was just as bad when the game first launched as well, and that's probably why I didn't do it when Fallout 4 first launched. But in this game, yeah, it's like, well, first of all, I don't like how you collect materials. You have your basic elements like your iron, copper, blah blah blah, and then there's
Mm.
other materials that you have to collect as well. That you can't get from those elements that you have to just collect or whatever the case may be. I don't like that aspect. I want them to kind of redo the element list or the things you need to build certain things because I feel like it should be all element based. It shouldn't be like random, like, oh, you need this space goop for this, and it's like I don't. You need fucking asbestos for this, and it's
Moon
like, bro,
spider silk or
yeah,
something.
yeah. And then, like that would be okay if that was the case, but it's like random stuff from random parts. You know what I'm saying? You may need like rubber or whatever, right? And
Yeah.
you can only get rubber from like if you collect like a fucking trash can lid or something like that, and it's a plastic trash can lid, and that contains the material rubber in it. You know what I'm saying?
And you have to like
So it's
break
like,
it down.
yeah, you have to break it down, and I don't and it would be okay as well if your storage wasn't such shit. Um, this game has a huge storage issue. Where it's like I can carry something on me, but then my ship can carry something on me, but there isn't like an infinite carry. Like there isn't an infinite bank area. Like your ship has store like a limited capacity as well, and it is an element of the game where you have to upgrade your ship capacity. Like that's actually in the upgrade list or whatever. I don't like that. I I would like for it to have like I want one planet or whatever that I can build and that I can make it my bank and that can be wherever I store everything. So I can still come back to that and the drawback would be I have to come back to that planet to withdraw the materials I want to withdraw, whatever the case may be.
Mhm.
And if I have enough storage space, I can carry a large amount in my on me and in my ship, which wouldn't be an issue. That would I think that would be the trade-off for that, but the trade-off is I have to go back to that planet every time. Right now there isn't a way for me to store everything I want to store because I'm a hoarder in some of these games, so like I store a lot of shit
Yeah.
because I like to break down materials later on, and I do it a lot in Fallout 4. The problem with Fallout, the good thing about Fallout 4 is when you store it in your base has um infinite storage. So I can store anything. The only problem is like I have to go to that base unless I get a perk called supply lines to where I have other bases and I have a person literally walking from one base to another base to another base to another base. And it's all you can see the person walking in real time, but obviously the transfer of items isn't real time, it's instantaneously. But I can, you know, get items from one base to another base and all of it be connected like it is like it's just all one giant box. And I think Starfield needs something like that. They don't have anything like that right now, and it's really jarring. I don't know how that was an oversight, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
uh I don't like it. It actually takes away the element of the game. Like when I see armor and stuff that falls and everything like that, I don't even pick it up anymore because I'm like, I'm okay with the armor I have right now. I'm not going to pick any more armor up because I don't want to get overcumbered, and I don't really feel like dealing with the stress of managing my inventory right now in my ship and on me and on my separate characters that have inventory on. So I don't like doing that. Because I just want one separate spot for an infinite bank for infinite storage, and I don't understand why they don't have that. So that is my major complaint. That may sound little to a lot of people. I know a lot of people don't do that, but that is a major component for me, and like one reason I kind of put the game down. Unless there's a mod that comes out for it, because I am playing on PC. So unless there's a mod that comes out for that, or there probably is already a mod for that. Like, unless they kind of like put more stuff in for base building in the game, I think I'm going to like just sleep on it for a while. Because yeah, that is my major criticism. I only gave it game 8. Because I just feel like there's not enough stuff. You can do a lot in the game, but you can't do a lot in the game. So
Yeah.
it's like, what's the metaphor? It's an ocean. The water is ocean wide, but puddle deep. And yeah, you can do a lot in the game. But as far as like depth and everything, because it actually takes away like the crafting, because you need the materials to upgrade your armor and upgrade your weapons and everything like that. And every and get mods and stuff like that. Because there's a ton of mods for the armor, there's a ton of mods for the weapon and everything like that. But you need the materials for it, and sometimes the materials may be like, oh, I need rubber, or I need I forgot what was this other random material that I needed or whatever. I need that, and it's not like from the elements. It's actual like, oh, I need a piece of wood or this, and that, and the third, and I don't have the capacity to it would be okay if I can search around the galaxy and then store all that stuff in one thing and then go to that one place and then do that. But
Mhm.
you don't have that option for me. So
Yeah.
I don't even see the point in crafting. Like I don't it kind of makes the whole game breaks the whole game to me. I didn't really see anybody talking about it. Um, but like for me, it just breaks the whole flow of crafting and everything. And I love crafting in Fallout. And another thing they did, which I didn't like that they took from Fallout 4, or they didn't include. So in Fallout 4, if you found a mod, and maybe this is because I had actually modded the game and this was a part of that mod, but I modded the game so much, but I don't even know what the base game is like anymore. But like, if I found a gun, right, and it had like, it was a pipe rifle with a silencer and a fucking 2x ACOG on it or something like that with a
Mhm.
fucking super cool fucking stock on the back of it or something like that, right? I could break down, I can take those mods off and store those mods and then put those mods on another gun and then just leave the gun in its base form, if that makes any sense. And I thought that was like the coolest thing. And I want to say that was like, that's like base Fallout, probably with a DLC, no mods. Because I didn't read any mods that can do that. But that was like really cool that I can take the mods off. So say like if I got like a level 4 scope or something like that, and I can only my crafting can only allow me to make level 2 scopes. If the NPC is a higher level than me and I beat that NPC, I grab his weapon, I can take that level 2 scope, store it, and then put it on another gun, like of the same gun or whatever, same type of gun,
Mhm.
and use that mod. And I thought that was just so cool. And I'm like, okay, they have to have that in Starfield. So I got a couple of these I got a couple guns that had different mods on them. From they're the same gun but different mods. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna. The only downside was I had to use materials to get it back to its original state, which is
Yeah.
okay because you had to do that in Fallout 4 as well. But when I did that, my mods weren't stored; they were just gone. And I'm like, so you can't do that in this game. That fucking sucks
Yeah,
because
that's weird.
yeah, that actually incentivizes characters or players rather to find different guns and build off those mods and everything like that instead of just I just sell the guns when I get them now because I'm like I have the gun that I want and I don't feel like modding it. I don't have first I'm not the level to mod it to where I want to mod it. Um so if the gun that I do find doesn't have the mods and stuff I want, I just sell it and I don't even care about it. So it's a lot of stuff they still have to like not patch in but add. A lot of quality of life stuff like that that they have to add to the game. And I can see this game being really good like in like it's super it's good now, don't get me wrong. It's like a 7 it's like a 8, 7.58. So it's good, but I can see it being really good in the future. So like if anyone was still iffy on it, I would wait at least a year or at least a year or two before you get the game, or at least a half a year. Year to a
See if
half.
there's a DLC. Wait to see
Yeah.
if there's a DLC,
Yeah,
basically.
if there's a DLC, and like some mods would probably improve some things as well if you're playing on PC. They're going to bring the mods to the Xbox Series X as well. So if you are playing on Xbox Series X, you can get some of the mods. That is up to the modder, the artist mod itself, if if he or she wants to put that on the Xbox side. But it is going to be an option. But yeah, uh, I would say just wait like a half a year to a year and then try it out. I think it's still a really good game. Though. It's a really cool game. But yeah, there is some stuff that need to be that people have valid criticism on.
It's kind of weird that because I mean that inventory would be such a problem in this game. Like, isn't that the whole like point?
Yeah,
Isn't this Bethesda's thing? You know, it's kind of weird that they kind of got it. It sounds like they got it wrong a little bit.
yeah, and maybe I need to do more research. I've been trying to play this game without getting on the internet and trying to find stuff on my own. But that inventory thing is a huge thing. I may have to just look up. But if there is a solution to that, I'm gonna try to find it. But as of right now, like the first couple of days, I was looking at people saying they're like, "Oh, you just have to upgrade your ship, and then hope you don't go over the limit or whatever." But I'm not using enough material, and I don't feel like when you're doing the base building and everything like that as well, you use some of the elements, but you also need other like material, actual material to build the bases. So it's like I don't like that. Like I just want to build the bases. And why do you have me farming for this material if I need all these other? Why you have me farming for these elements and everything if I can't use the elements to make the materials that I need to make the stuff? If that makes any sense. So it's like if there's not a proper flow of like crafting. And
Yeah,
I would love that. I would love for me. So say like I do need a piece of rubber or whatever, right? And it's like, oh, you need to make oil. You need to do this. All right. Well, let's break it down to elements. You have these elements to make the oil. You have these elements to make whatever you need for the plastic, and then you
yeah.
combine them together. Now you have the rubber, and then now you have the rubber to build the chair that you want to build or something
It's
like
weird
that.
they didn't do that, man. Yeah, because
It,
I would think the way you'd want to do it with this game is basically what you're saying, right? You have your base elements, like the real elements, that you would go get.
yep.
And there are places and planets where you can get those things.
Yep.
in some method, gathering or fighting a certain enemy or mining or whatever the fuck, whatever that method is, and then you would use that to craft what the materials that you need to build the thing you're trying to build.
Yeah.
I would think that would be that's kind of how I don't know. That's I guess how I expected it to probably work, but it sounds like that's not what they did. It's just like there's certain materials that there's no way to make. Like you have to go find something that has that material already in it and break it down to get said material.
Yes, and I don't like that. Which
Yeah,
it
and
wasn't the
that
case like that
yeah.
in Fallout 4, or maybe it was. But the problem, I think it was like that in Fallout 4 as well. But the benefit in Fallout 4 was I can grab a toaster and then like, all right, if I cleared a dungeon or I cleared a room or a apartment or whatever in Fallout 4, I would literally grab everything. Like if it was a pencil, magazine, everything. And then I would go. I didn't really care what materials I was looking for. I knew something had the materials that I would need later on. And then I would store it. And it would automatically calculate, like if I grabbed a watch, it would watch usually has like a gear, um, some kind of cylinders that we used to use or something like that, and I can use those gears and the cylinders and everything from the watch to make a machine gun, uh, um, um, like a mounted machine gun or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool. So, but the problem is, I mean, the thing I had in Fallout 4 was infinite storage. I don't have that in Starfield, so I'm very limited. I'm not picking up all the sandwiches and all the fucking notebooks and pencils. I'm just running past that now because I don't have unlimited storage, and there's no way for me to get it.
Mhm.
Like I don't really know where I can do it at. Um, so I don't know. I think that issue needs to be addressed, and I don't think players are far enough to address it. So will it ever get addressed? Maybe, but it's going to be a couple.
If nobody's bringing it up though, they're not going to address it.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless it's already on their board to figure out.
Yeah.
So interesting. Well, I mean, if you keep playing, let us know if your feelings change at all. But I still want to play it. I play these games for a different reasons. It sounds like than you do. So I'm not into the crafting fucking base building shit that they put in Fallout 4. That shit was so fucking weird to me.
It
Like
was weird. I hated it too, but then I learned to love it, and I like it.
I just don't know what the point of it is. I guess that's my problem. Like, what do you do with the base once it's built? Like, is
Well, I
there
use
anything to
it.
do?
So when I used it for a lot of different things. So in Fallout 4, I used to like actually fuel almost your adventure. You can build your base and like have your settlers do a lot of different things. Um, to me, it kind of added like meat to the game, if that makes any sense. I was immersed in the game. Like I was this settler and building these bases because I was a part of the Minutemen and I had my own
Mhm.
faction and everything like that. So that was one element of it. Then the second element of it, the major element of it was I would build the materials so that I can craft stuff and uh craft stuff for my weapons and my armor and everything. That was the main reason I was doing it. So I can get more caps or get more materials to craft and trade to just make myself more powerful. And that was
Yeah,
it was a really good way to do that. Once you learn how to do it, you can start crafting factories. You can start crafting a whole bunch of different things like ammo factories and everything like that. So that I wouldn't have to be low on ammo. I can just craft an ammo factory. Oh, I need 7.62 ammo. All right, I'm just gonna make this fucking crafting factory, and I will spawn me 7.62 ammo from all the materials and stuff that I get, or whatever the
yeah,
case may be. I will make stores in my settlements, and I will make stores in there. So my settlers, when they go out into the world and everything like that, they will bring back caps, and then they will use said caps in my stores in the settlements, and then I will get a portion of that money. You know what I'm saying? So it it was giving me caps so I can do a lot of
you
stuff.
made your you like fucking you made your own like fucking money network basically.
Yeah, and I was making like a material network and everything. So I was just using it to like fuel my weapon needs and my armor needs when I needed the craft. That was the main reason I was using it. And that's the main reason I wanted to do it here as well, because I was like I want to build crazy ships. I want to build crazy armor sets. I want to build crazy weapons and all this other stuff like that. So what's the best way to do that? I'm going to need credits. I'm going to need, materials and everything like that. But it kind of doesn't work that way, or maybe I haven't discovered the way to do it yet. And that's what I need to figure out.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, you got one other game on your list here, and this is
Oh yeah.
this is a fun one.
Yeah, so Titanfall 2 actually works now. They said like last week or week before last that it was working, like the matchmaking was working. But I couldn't find anything, so I put it down. And then I saw a tweet and someone was like, yo, they actually fixed it this time. Like it's actually working. I'm actually able to find it on Xbox or whatever. So instead of downloading it again on Xbox, I downloaded it on PlayStation 4. So I actually bought the game again. It was on sale for like $5.
Yeah.
And I bought it again. And I started playing it, and there was like 2,000 or 3,000 players online, but I was able to get into a match, and there were no hackers, and the game was running smooth. And man, is that game fun! Like, what's so funny is I hear all the sound cues from Apex, and it's like my brain is like Apex, but it's like no, this is Titanfall 2
That's
or
funny.
whatever.
So they reused some sound effects.
Yeah, they reused the sound effects from Titanfall and Apex. There's like bar for bar the same sound effects.
Okay.
What's funny is a lot of the attacks that you have. So you have loadouts like Call of Duty or whatever, right? When you're playing like attrition, which is their version of deathmatch, it's you and 5 other pilots versus 6 other pilots on the other side. But there's a whole battlefield going on, so you have NPCs everywhere fighting each other as well. So it's like you're in the middle of a war.
Yeah.
And you can if you play original Titanfall, you understand you shoot the NPCs and you shoot the pilots. That fuels your gauge for Titanfall. For a Titan, then Titanfall come down. Whoever has the highest amount of points wins at the end of the game. That's the main game I've been playing. So anyway, like the abilities that you have are so funny, bro, because they are literally Apex Legend abilities.
Yeah.
Yeah,
isn't like Wraith's tack like in the game? It's like
yes, Wraith's tack is actually attached to the Titan. The Titan can actually portal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he can portal dash. Mirage tack is actually, which is funny because he's two of the attacks in one. So one attack you can go invisible, and then another attack you can actually send out a hologram of yourself. So obviously that's Mirage. They had old Lifeline in there, so you couldn't revive anyone, obviously, but you can put up the shield in front of you. How she used to do when she used to do level season 1 or season 2 Lifeline, where she had the shield when she revived herself. What else is in there? Oh, stem. Obviously, you can stem yourself, but you don't lose health. But you can stem yourself like fucking Octane. Yep. And then the original one, like the very first one you get, is the grapple hook, like Pathfinder. So
wow,
I just thought that was really fucking cool.
I mean, it makes sense, dude. Like it honestly makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And I don't know. I just thought it was like, because I actually forgot about that. Like that's how long it's been since I played Titanfall 2, and I'm like, damn, I forgot that all the original abilities were actually, or all the original Apex abilities were actually just Titanfall loadouts. And I just thought that like that comparison was like really cool. What's really funny is like the difference in the gameplay though. You can't climb up walls vertically. You can only side run. So
yeah. It's wall running.
Yeah. So like so when I tried to climb a wall vertically, he wouldn't do that. He would just climb, and I had to like kind of jump and do that to get up the wall or whatever. In the Apex, you can climb up the wall vertically, which I thought was hilarious. Like that's the trade-off. Like you can climb up the walls vertically, but you can't do wall running or whatever the case may be. I don't know. The game is insanely fun though. Like it's not super hard. It actually is very casual, and you can tell this game doesn't have skill-based matchmaking. Sometimes I'm in games I'm getting totally dominated, and then sometimes I'm in games where I'm dominating everybody. So like I like this old form of matchmaking. I'm like, this is like really fucking good, actually. Like this is the matchmaking I remember.
Is this still on sale? Is it still on sale on PlayStation?
I think it's $20 now. I think it's $20.
Yeah, $5. I would have fucking taken I'd take the plunge at that price.
Yeah, I think it's $20 again now. Which I still don't think is bad because I'm also playing the campaign, and the campaign is insanely good as well.
Yeah. Right.
I forgot Ash is in the campaign. She's one of your enemies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's a
so
Titanfall character.
yeah, so I just forgot about so many characters that actually appear in the actual campaign and everything. So yeah, if you guys, it is on sale on Steam for like $3. So if you want to play it on Steam, you can do that as well.
Yeah, but it doesn't have crossplay, right?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't have crossplay.
Okay.
But yeah, so I don't know. It's just a insanely fun game. I did play Apex. It was a little bit easier because I'm playing Titanfall 2 now. So Apex like is like kind of. I'm like, damn, this game runs slow as fuck now. This game is slow as shit. Like, and it's funny because a lot of the skills translate from both games. So like, I'll be doing shit in both games, and it's just I don't know. It's just a really good game, man. It's really fun. They,
Dude, it's available. $5.
oh really?
Titanfall 2 Standard Edition.
Oh shit! Get that shit, man.
Okay, yeah. Hold on, I need to sign it. I'll do this later, but yeah, that's cool, man. I'm glad to see you know that the game is as fun as people always said it was.
Yeah, there's a whole like conspiracy theory on why they called Apex Legends Resurrection. A lot of people think it had nothing to do with Apex Legends. It was Titanfall they were trying to resurrect.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well, remember that story we talked about a few months ago where the one of the guys who was working on Titanfall 3 talked about
mhm.
like they made a choice as a studio to not make the game basically, like, and
Yeah,
pivot to Apex to a BR. So it is what it is, I guess, with that. But it honestly, thinking about it, it's like we're probably not getting to Titanfall 3. Like, realistically, it's just
well
like I
they
think
did say
that
they
ship
were
has
working on
sailed.
something. Respawn said they were working on something.
Hmm.
And a lot of the people said they did want to. Even Vincent Pella said he wanted to come back to Titanfall.
Yeah.
He just had the right. It had to be the right time, and I think this is the right time because mechs are in now. I mean, Armored Core brought mechs back into the
Oh yeah.
forefront.
Yeah,
Front
baby.
Mission is back out,
Oh
so
yeah.
um, I think it is a really good time to at least revitalize the game, and I think this is their way of testing it to see if people will be into it. But I've been getting to steady matches, so I think
Yeah.
the people that were into it are into it, and then a lot of people that didn't even know it was back are like, "Oh, this game's back! I'm about to come back and play it."
Yeah. Well, boom, purchased.
Yeah, I think on Steam it went the Steam charts. It was like 12,000 people were online when they found out the matchmaking was back.
Nice. Okay.
So
All right, well, maybe check it out. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I want to play a multiplayer game again. I just like, dude, it's I am Apex is. I think it's done for me, dude. The magic's gone. I don't love you know what I mean though with that. Like there's just like a feeling you have when you're really into a multiplayer game, and I haven't felt that with Apex in a while. Like it's been a couple years probably. Um,
I
and
I, I definitely understand. I
yeah.
definitely understand.
Yeah, and it's just
Um,
when I get on to play with you guys, it's just like I'm not like I don't know, like you guys like just like, oh, I'm having tons of. I'm like, I don't. Okay, we won. Did we win? Did we lose? I don't fucking care. Like I just like
yeah. So if you're getting to the point where you don't care about winning or losing, then I'm like,
yeah,
yeah, I think it's time for you to put the game up.
yeah, and I
And
think
that's how
that's
it
where I'm
was with
at with
League of
it.
Legends. Yeah, that's where I
Yeah,
was at League of Legends. I just didn't fucking care anymore. I was like, whatever, bro. I'm
yeah.
just
So I
leaving
need
it.
something else. I think I need something fresh. I don't know if I'm done with BR necessarily, but that might be part of it. I might just be sick of BR, dude. Like
Yeah, maybe you are. Yeah, because
it's a
I
fun
don't know the
genre, but
gunplay in Apex, man. I tried to go to other games. I even tried to play Warzone, and I was just like, I tried to supplement it with like Warzone and Fortnite,
yeah.
and it's just like, man, that gunplay, Apex's gunplay is like top notch, bro.
It
Like
is. Yeah, it definitely is.
it's really good, man.
Yeah. It's just a lot of the other aspects of the game that I'm kind of tired of how bloated it is, how many maps there are. Like it's just like the game's too big, I guess, is part of it. And I think that core gameplay loop of the BR mode is just not there's not been an evolution to it in any real way. And maybe that like I think for a lot of players that's probably a good thing, but for me, like I don't want my multiplayer games to just consistently stay the same.
Hmm.
forever and ever. Like I'm thinking about MOBAs, for instance, like League and Dota. Like they introduce new things to these games. Like Dota now compared to 11 years ago looks completely different, as a game. And League's the same way, you know.
Yep.
I just don't think that's true for Apex. Like I think about Apex at launch and Apex now, and what's the difference? There's more maps and more characters and more guns. That's it. They haven't changed the core gameplay loop in any real way. And I don't know. It's like, I mean, you can say that about League and Dota as well, but the things they add to the game with those games, I feel like just has a much higher impact on the way the game is played. You know what I mean? Um,
Well, I think another component, um, and this may be contributing to what it is as well for you. Um, I know for not necessarily League, because I can't say this about League anymore. It used to be that you can just play the game casually, which I liked about Titanfall. I just played the game casual. There was no rank mode. There's just casual. Everything's like
yeah,
there's no rank mode or whatever. And Apex used to be that way, but the skill ceiling is so high now that even if you go into norms, you're not having fun because you have to play seriously, or you're
yeah,
just gonna die instantly.
that's true.
Unless you have like a new level account or something like that.
Yeah, that's
And I
true.
know for me that can contribute a lot of it. Uh, Sometimes I don't want to I don't want to try hard, but I do want to play Apex. But I just don't feel like trying hard, bro. And then people are like, well, play the LTM modes, or play team deathmatch, and it's like even in those modes, people are like, fucking jump canceling, sliding,
Bro, there's
fucking wall
hackers in those
bouncing.
modes. Like, come
Yeah.
on, man. You know?
So it's like, it's not fun. To where it's like League of Legends, it used to have modes like that. I mean, even though our norms games felt like we were playing against fucking, MOG fucking pros and shit like that.
They were
Um,
harder than some of the ranked games.
yeah, like insane. Um, And the reason like rank flex, it wasn't us. It was just rank flex is broken. Like I went on the Reddit and people were just like, yo, either do something about rank flex or just fucking remove it because it's not fun at all.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but like, yeah, even like when I was playing my rank games by myself, and then I'll play like a norms game with y'all, like I'm like, bro, this shouldn't be this hard for me. Like I'm winning my rank games, but like when I'm playing
Yeah.
with y'all, I wasn't consistently losing, but I'm consistently have to try hard, and everything like that. And I'm pretty sure Dota is like the opposite now. I'm pretty sure Dota is like it has a lot of fun modes in it and everything like that.
It's got
Um,
both. Yeah, at least they
yeah,
have both things. They have goofy modes and they have serious modes.
yeah, and I think the problem with like Call of Duty and all these got games right now is everything has skill based matchmaking where it used to just beat up straight up matchmaking. Like whatever you connect with, that's who you connect with, and you're playing the game. There was probably some kind of mitigation there to make sure you don't get the top players of the top players, but like I think SBMMM and EOMM just kind of ruined everything. Like all these
Yeah.
algorithms, man, just like let players play the game. I don't know.
Also, if you're gonna do skill based matchmaking, dude, like it needs to work. You know, and
Yeah.
like it didn't work in Apex. We were playing Preds all the time, dude. Like
Yeah, we
and
were.
like what the fuck? Like none of us had even gotten to fucking like beyond platinum before. It's like what are we doing here? It just I don't know. So yeah. Anything else you want to say about Titanfall?
No, that's it.
Okay, fair enough. All right. I've been playing not much. Like I said, I've been really busy with work. I've been fucking tired of shit. I'm actually super tired still right now. But Armor Core, I have just not been in a mental state to play it. Like I don't know. I needed something like easy and mindless, that I didn't really need to think a whole lot about.
Yes,
And
same.
that actually turned into Genshin Impact for me this weekend. So the Fontaine update, the 4.0 update came out a few weeks back in the middle of August. And I did want to go back and play the game and catch up on the story with the main Archon quest. And I did that this weekend. I played through the font. I did all the story. There was only one story quest I hadn't done up to this update, so I did that one. And then I did the two Fontaine quests. So it was about, I don't know, 5 hours, maybe 6 hours total of total gameplay there. I enjoyed it. It's more it's not like Genshin at this point. The story at this point is very, there's like a formula to it. Each region, there's kind of a story within that region for the most part, and you meet a whole lot of characters, that they add to the gotcha and all this fucking shit. And then, but by the end of the region's story, they kind of introduce one arc where it kind of touches the overarching story between all the regions, and then you have like a conversation with the Archon, and some information is revealed, whether that's lore information or information about that main storyline, that is kind of driving the plot forward. And then you move on to the next region. That's kind of the formula that we've gotten to with this game at this point. So really, Fontaine's story so far is very centered on the region itself, Fontaine, and teaching us more about it, the Archon, and some of the characters within it. But it is actually a really cool it's a really cool theme for this region. So this region's theme is this is the Hydro Nation, which is water. The Water Nation, basically, and they are very focused on justice in this nation. So the main story quest actually has you doing kind of like investigative work, and trying to solve these court cases, basically, essentially, and it's very like sensationalized proceedings within court. It's like super dramatic, and it's almost like a fucking TV show the way it's presented. And But it's really cool. It's a change of pace from the story in other regions. They're doing something different here. I appreciate what
Hmm.
they're doing, and I actually enjoyed it. It's well told. The way things play out is, makes sense. The logic all checks out for the most part. And the characters are cool and interesting. Um, and Yeah, I liked it a lot. I think I think it's a nice change of pace. So I'm looking forward to the next update, which I think we will get one more story quest with the next update, which I think is in a couple weeks from now. So I'll probably check that out. I have been playing the game outside of that as well. I'm honestly I'm starting to hit my Honkai Star Rail. I'm hitting a point of boredom with it a little bit. That it's there's not it's not that there's not enough to do, which I mean that is true to a degree. It's just that the game has some problems that are starting to emerge that I'm a little concerned about. Um, and that is in the form of power creep with this game. Because Genshin, interestingly enough, as a gotcha games tend to have power creep problems over the course of their lifespan. And Genshin is weird in that it doesn't really have power creep problems. It's actually the reverse. Like it has what the opposite of power creep would be, where characters are actually getting worse over time. Like the new characters are worse than the old ones,
Okay.
which is really weird. I've never seen a game do this before. But that's kind of how things have played out with Genshin. Is the characters that were released early in the game's life, like at 1.0, and then in the earlier patches, are busted as fuck. Like they are fucking crazy good, and they're still crazy good. And there's newer characters just cannot compete with them. In terms of a like what you would call the meta. The thing with Genshin though is that the meta doesn't fucking matter. There's one area in the game where you need to expend any amount of effort to actually complete content, and that is the Spiral Abyss. And it is literally 4 floors of, 3 chambers. So 12, basically 12 combat encounters that you have to do every 2 weeks, I think. And the first 6 of them I would say are super easy. Probably most players can do it. The last 6 are definitely more challenging. But it's like if you're good enough, like if your account is strong enough and you have the right characters for the theme of the Abyss, in that 2 week period, like you're done with it in 45 minutes to an hour, and then you're done. And that's the end game content for Genshin Impact. The game is just not designed around the idea of power scaling. It's like they've just moved away from combat as like a main driving gameplay focus for the game, which is fine. I don't have a problem with it. Like I said, I needed a casual game that I don't really need to think about, and that's kind of what Genshin has become. Whereas Honkai is actually kind of in the opposite state. They're kind of going in a different direction with Honkai, where it's a little bit more hardcore, and they just introduced something. I had mentioned the simulated universe was getting an update, and I got that update, and it's called the Swarm update, and it's a new kind of alternate gameplay mode within simulator universe where you are kind of exploring a randomly generated dungeon, and you get to like choose what rooms you go into basically, and it's like kind of like a little map, like a hex based map, and you each tile has like a enemy on it or a special characteristic to the room or something like that. It's all pretty randomized, but you get to choose where you go, and stuff like that. So, but this is where they've started to introduce difficulty that's kind of been in the game. Like Memory of Chaos is difficult right now. It was kind of the hardest content in the game, but this new mode that they've introduced in the simulated universe is definitely giving it a run for its money. From what I understand, like the final level, there's 5 levels, and the final level of it, difficulty level of it, is like it sounds like you're gonna have a hard time beating it unless you're in semi whale territory, which I think is I don't know. To me, that is kind of starting to be a little bit of a red flag for me, because the latest character they just released, his name is Imbibitor Lune. He has totally broken the power scaling of the game. Like
Hmm.
he does so much more damage than any character they've released so far.
Okay.
And it seems like this is the direction they are going with character releases. Because from what the leaks are suggesting, the character that's coming in 1.4 is another damage dealing character, and she seems to be in a similar bracket with this character that just came out. And it's just kind of concerning for me. It makes sense. Like I honestly feel like it was gonna be difficult for them with the way the game was designed to take the Genshin Impact path, where you try to make everybody like similarly powered, because this is a turn-based game. It's just a turn-based game. Your characters have 2 abilities, literally, that you can choose at any given time, and then you have an ultimate ability. So there's not much design space to make a bunch of different unique characters in this game necessarily. And eventually you're going to get to the point where you're kind of making characters that are similar to each other or combinations of other characters, and they're just gonna the only way to make them appealing is to make them better, than
Yeah.
previous characters. So it's something I'm like, I don't know. I haven't dropped the game, and I'm not at that point quite yet, but I am certainly thinking about it, because I kind of need to see how 1.4 plays out. Because if this is what happens with it, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to get into this. Is where gotcha games, like, to me, suck. I hate the power creep that happens in them. Like Fire Emblem Heroes is the first one I ever played, right? And if you go look at ability descriptions now for characters versus ability descriptions from when the game launched in 2017, it is fucking hilarious to go look. I just dude, I implore people, go Google this. Like, characters have ability descriptions that are literally like multiple paragraphs long now for one ability, whereas before it would be like a sentence. And that's how complicated the game has become, and they've power creeped shit so much
And
that
that's for Genshin Impact or
no, for Fire Emblem Heroes.
Fire
Fire
Emblem
Emblem
Heroes?
Heroes.
Okay.
Yeah. And Genshin Impact, though, funny enough, is like similarly wordy with the character abilities.
Hmm.
It's actually very confusing to wrap your head around the way things work in that game sometimes, because it's just like there's just so many mechanics, that they've introduced over the years. But yeah, so like this happens with gotcha games. It's pretty typical, but I liked Genshin for the fact that it kind of wasn't happening. I kind of like the fact that they're not making characters that are just broken and that's how they sell them. You know, like, I don't like that. That's like pay to win. You're just or form of pay to win. Is and then introducing combat that meets the power level of those characters. You're kind of making it so that everybody always has to keep spending in order to keep up with the game.
Yeah.
And that's where I feel like Honkai might be headed. Honkai Star Rail might be headed. So, but it's okay. I mean, I'm gonna keep playing it and see where it goes, see how I feel about it. But right now that's kind of where my head's at with these games. So I'm kind of more in a Genshin mode. I may swap back over to that and drop Honkai at some point, but um I do have my work's gonna slow down hopefully for the next like week or so I should have some more time to game this coming week. So I'll probably get back into Armored Core, and I don't know, I need to pick something else up too, like Baldur's Gate or Starfield or something. But definitely a lot of games I want to play. So, all right, Montreal. let's move into the news. We have a ton of shit to talk about actually today, so we might be in for a fucking long episode here, folks. So let's start. We got two fucking streams today. Nintendo and PlayStation both announced streams for today that happened today. So Nintendo was a Nintendo Direct and Sony's was a State of Play. And we're gonna start with the Nintendo one because it was, in my opinion, a little bit more significant than the Sony one. But yeah, Montreal, do you want to just go through the whole thing, like as it in the order that it happened, or do you want to talk about overall thoughts first, or you want to save that for the end?
Uh, that's actually a good question. I'm not sure.
Okay, let's just jump into it.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll. So first thing they showed was a Splatoon 3, basically DLC expansion pass content. I don't have much to say about this one. You?
Nah, not really.
We don't play Splatoon.
Yeah, I mean, it is gonna. Splatoon for me is gonna come up in our conversation later on.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't necessarily play Splatoon, so
Okay.
I'm not really too hyped about it at all, unfortunately.
All right. So next thing shown was Mario versus Donkey Kong. This is a new game that Nintendo announced. It is it looks like kind of like a puzzle game, a 2D puzzle game, where Mario is trying to complete certain objectives on stages. But this isn't like a Mario game where it's like fast paced or anything like that. It's more of a, you need to figure out how to manipulate the stage or manipulate things in the stage so you can advance forward. More that kind of puzzle based gameplay. I think this looked cool. To me, it's not necessarily something I'm probably going to pick up right away, but if I had more time, this is the kind of game I would probably play. What about you? Any interest on this one?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of a lot of Mario games are one of those games like I want to play it, but it's like when am I going to have the time to play it? And
Yeah.
this is definitely one of those games where I'm like I want to play it. It looks cool, but when am I going to have the time to play it?
Yeah.
It's definitely built for like more being on the go, in my opinion. A lot of Mario games now are built like that on the Switch.
Yeah.
But yeah, and unfortunately, I don't. If I was traveling a lot, I think Mario games would be like really cool for me because I'm traveling. But unfortunately, right now I'm not traveling too much.
So it is coming on February 16th of 2024 next year. So check that one out if that sounded intriguing to you. Next game shown was Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown once again. The side scroller from Ubisoft. I mean, we've already talked about this game earlier in the summer, but it continues to look fucking awesome to me.
What game was that? I'm sorry, because you kind of cut out. That was on my end.
Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown.
Oh yeah, so I am looking forward to this game. I actually forgot about this game, man. It comes out in January, right?
Yep, January 18th next year.
Yeah, a lot of people. It was some people saying they weren't looking forward to the game, but to me, this is like kind of returning Prince of Persia to his roots, his 2D roots. I think it looks fucking cool, so I'm definitely picking it up. Probably not first day, but definitely within that week, that first week.
Yep. All right, next game was Horizon Chase 2. This is some kind of driving game slash racing game. It is a racing game
Yeah.
of some sort. It's actually available now as you're hearing this. So it was one of those available today games. It has 4-player couch co-op. And yeah, I mean, any thoughts on this one?
It's too much. Not too much to say about that one.
Fair enough. Figured. The next game was something called Super Crazy Rhythm Castle. I think this is from Konami.
It is. It is from Konami,
and it's a rhythm game that it can also be played with 4 players, and but it also
cool
has. Sorry, say that again.
No, I say it looked cool to me, but I don't know when I would play it.
Yeah, agreed. It's another one of those type of games, right? It's like I don't I don't know when I would fit this in. I mean, it does look kind of cool, but it is kind of random for Konami though. At the same time,
Yeah, I think they're just trying to get back into the video game space.
yeah. After that was that game is going to be available in November, by the way. The next game was Spy X Anya, Operation Memories, which is going to be available next year. This is a game where you are a little kid. It looks like, and I don't even know. I don't know how to explain what this is.
Yeah. I know.
It's kind of
So
like a slice of life game, almost, I guess.
yeah. So I can explain a little bit. By the way, just step up to your mic a little bit. uh, but I can explain this a little bit. So I don't watch this anime, but it is a very popular anime that came out like last year. It's called Spy Family,
Yeah.
and she's the
Right.
little girl in the Spy Family anime. And her mother and father are like super fucking high tech, not high tech, but like really good spies, and they can do crazy shit and everything like that. It's almost like it's a slice of life anime mixed with a shonen or action anime
Mm-hmm.
because they have a really cool action sequences in the anime. But then she's there. She's like their daughter, and she's like the sweetest thing, and she doesn't understand what's going on.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, they're like, I think it's cool how they just kind of focused on her because she is a fan favorite. So I can see this selling really well, probably in Japan and maybe here too.
Gotcha. Yeah. I now that you say that, I know what this anime is. I've
Yeah,
never watched it before, but yeah. Okay, that makes sense. I just didn't recognize the other characters in it for whatever reason. They look different in the game than what I remember them looking like in the anime. So,
yeah.
but all right. Um, next game shown was Super Mario RPG, the remake that is coming in November 17th. I mean, this looks excellent. I'm very excited for it. They did show a couple new mechanics like super attacks and AOE attacks based off of you hitting the button presses. The the timing. If you hit the right timings on the attack commands in the game, they've added some elements and flair to that. It looks like a little bit, but
Hmm.
otherwise, yeah. I mean, this looks really good to me.
Yeah, you know what, man? I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know what it is about Super Mario RPGs and like the Paper Mario RPGs. I don't know. I don't know why I can't get into them. It's something like I'm like I really want to see why people love these like particular brands of RPGs, but I don't know. Maybe because it's just Mario and
It's
RPG.
Mario in an RPG, Montrell. Like that's cool in and of itself. You don't
And
really need to do a whole lot.
yeah, and maybe because I'm not a Super Mario mega fan. I didn't grow up with Mario like that. I grew up with Sonic. Maybe that's why I'm not really into it like that.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can understand though, like if I was young and then I bought everything Sonic and then because at the time there wasn't a Sonic RPG and the Sonic RPG came out, I would probably buy it because I'm like it's Sonic on the cover. I want to fucking play Sonic and whatever. So I can understand like you put it in that terms like it's Mario and I love Mario and whatever the case may be. So I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just a fucking. It's also a really good game though. Like in and of itself, it's not just that it's Mario. Like it is a RPG. It's like a Final Fantasy type story in Mario form. It's like
Okay.
and there's some really cool elements to this game that they explore within Mario, I guess. It's just fun. I don't know. And there's characters, some fan favorites like Gino, and Mallow. Like they haven't been in any other games that are fun characters in their own right. So,
Hmm.
but I'm looking forward to this one. I will say, this is another one of those games though. Like Nintendo's gotten really heavy with the remakes recently,
Yeah.
um, and it's kind of hard for me to keep playing all these. Like, I don't know if I'm going to play this right away, but I will definitely get this game at some point. I love having access to it in on the Switch, So, all right, moving on. The next game shown was a game called Another Code Recollection, which is actually two games. They're doing basically a remake of two. I think these were DS games. They said, and I don't know what these are, but it sounds like people. It's actually a fairly well known couple of games. Um, but it looks like an adventure game of some sort, more puzzle solving focused. Um, and yeah,
These
any thoughts
are
on this one?
point and click adventure games from the 3DS or
Yeah,
from the DS rather. I'm sorry, not the
yep,
3DS.
yep.
Yeah, I'm with you. I didn't really know about this game like that. It's probably one of those games that has like a really huge cult following. So if you know about it, you know about it. If you don't, you don't. And yeah, that's what this seems like. I'm not really looking forward to it, but I'm glad the fans are getting into it because I mean I can't talk. I mean our favorite game's coming out tomorrow, so our favorite remastered game coming out tomorrow.
You're talking about Baby Katos?
Yep.
Yes, sir. 1 and 2. I mean, dude, it's frustrating. I want to play those, but god damn it, I don't have time right now. Those are such long games, man.
They
Like,
are. They are. I'm gonna buy them just to support it, but I'm probably not gonna play it for like another maybe month and a half. Like 'cause
yeah,
Spider-Man comes out next month, so I can't say
right,
next month, but like
right.
maybe a month and a half.
Yep. All right. Moving on. Next game shown was Princess Peach Showtime. So this is a Peach focused game, and actually this looks really cool, man.
Yeah.
So the gameplay is, it's like a Mario game, like sort of, but Peach can transform into different forms, and those forms have certain abilities. So they showed a few of them, like Sword Fighter Peach. She can sword fight. There's like a Kung Fu Peach where she, fights with her fists and her, her feet. And then there was like a chef version of Peach, and then they had what was the last one? I think it was Investigator Peach,
Yeah,
um,
Investigator Peach.
as well. But it is interesting. It takes place in like a theater, and you're trying to save the theater from, I don't know, some evil dude or thing. But I don't know. I think the game looks kind of cool though. What did you think?
I thought it looked cool too. Like it's just one of those things where it's like if I was a kid now, or maybe even like 25 or 26 right now, this would definitely be a game that I would pick up because I'm like I have the time, I can do it. I'm not, I don't have anybody right now, so whatever. But
Hmm.
that's not the case.
Yeah.
But this game does look cool, and I actually want her to have more solo games
Hmm.
uh in the future. To be honest with you.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it is cool that she's getting a solo game as well. And yeah, it's coming out on March 22nd next year. So check that one out if that sounds interesting. All right. Next game shown was Saga Emerald Beyond.
Man, this
This
game
is
looked really cool.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, well go for it. What'd you
No,
think?
no, you can keep going.
I mean, I don't have much to say about this one personally.
Oh, you don't? I thought it looked really cool. If this is the one I'm thinking about. Hold on, wait. I don't think this is the one I'm
This
thinking
might not be
about.
the one you're thinking about. I think I might know which
Okay.
one you're thinking about. No, this is a
Yeah.
it's an RPG, but it looks like a you can pick like different characters, and it has a kind of an isometric view
Yeah,
to it.
this one reminded me of a Octopath Traveler. The
Yeah.
way because it has like 8 different heroes with different stories, right?
Hmm.
With this one, right? Yeah, this one looked pretty cool from that standpoint, I think.
Yeah, but it has turn-based combat, like Octopath style.
Mhm.
Its own unique mechanics, of course, but that turn-based style though.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't when they showed the combat, even though the combat is like full 3D, not Octopath Traveler style.
Hmm.
I'm not really too into that turn base. The way they're describing it, it didn't look fluid. If that makes any sense, it maybe works really well, but
Yeah, I mean
um,
the game actually kind of looks a little rough, if I'm being
yeah,
honest. Like, but I don't know, but I do think I think this is an entry in the Saga Frontier series,
okay,
which is a Square Enix series. So
yeah, I wasn't really too when they showed the battle system. Like I knew it was gonna be a turn base, but it said like it was a timeline turn base. So it looks
mm,
like you set up everybody's attacks based on the timeline, and then you do that. So I'm not just from what they were showing, I wasn't really into it. Maybe they're not showcasing it correctly,
mhm.
but it didn't really look like it would grab me. But I'm pretty sure people love it. People will love it. So um,
Yep.
I'll wait to some more gameplay footage before I judge it coming out.
Hmm. And that is coming in 2024. All right, moving on. Montreal, you must have been excited about this one. Tomb Raider 1 through 3 remastered.
Yeah, I was excited about this one. Definitely getting this in the drop. I love
Is this the first
the
time
looks.
they've remastered these games like this?
So I want to say no. I think they remastered them before, but they did like uh they did it so many. They remastered Tomb Raider so many fucking times, bro. I think it's called Tomb Raider Legends or something like
Yeah,
that, where
yeah.
where it's like a remaster of the all three of them or something like that. Um, but this one is like taking like the original backbone of like Tomb Raider and just like upgrading it or whatever as far as graphics,
Hmm.
and you can actually switch between the graphics and everything of that nature. I
Yeah.
actually like the original Tomb Raider. Um, because it did have some action in it, but it was more so like a puzzle game, a puzzle platforming game first,
Hmm.
and then the action was like later. So I don't know, and especially the original, the first Tomb Raider had like a huge creep factor to it. You
Hmm.
heard like the elements of the cave, and it was just there was no music anywhere, anything like that. It was just like you would hear footsteps and like water dripping and rocks crumbling everywhere, and then if you heard
Hmm.
like enemies, you'll hear them moan, or
Hmm.
wolves would be like howling in the background. It was a really atmospheric game. And on top of that, you're trying to figure out puzzles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I, I really want to play it again just to like see if it hold. I know it probably doesn't hold up too well, but I don't know. Tomb Raider games are like really fun to me for some reason.
Yeah. I mean, it looked really good. Like the remaster looks great too. The graphics,
Hmm.
graphical updates. So, I've never played the Tomb Raider games too. I feel like I would probably like them, actually. But coming on February 14th next year. So, all right. Next game they showed was Detective Pikachu Returns. So this is the sequel to Detective Pikachu. It's going to have very similar gameplay to that one. Um, but it's coming on October 6th. Did you ever play the first game?
No, I didn't, unfortunately.
Okay. And any interest in checking these out?
Uh, No, not really. I don't know
Yeah,
why.
I
I don't
know.
know why. I usually like detective games actually, but I don't for some reason maybe it's the Pokemon element that kind of takes me out of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like the
Yep.
movie though.
All right, fair enough. Well, maybe we'll get a second one. All right, moving on. The next game they showed was, oh boy, okay, this one, Trombone Champ. Do you remember this one?
This shit looked so fucking funny. I was
Yeah,
dying
man.
when they showed this shit.
Yeah. Well, the reason I even the thing is the funny thing about this is I saw this before. I saw this game before the direct on Twitter. When the Jets on Monday were playing, and Aaron Rodgers got hurt. Mina Kimes from ESPN like posted a video of this game as like a meme, basically, or attempting to make fun of the Jets. Essentially, and I was like, what is this game, dude? I'm like, what the hell? And then it pops up in this direct, and I'm like, okay, all right, cool, man. So it's a weird one, but it's
I'm actually thinking about picking this game up just for.
yeah, it's probably funny. It's probably very funny to play, actually. um
I think Deanna will enjoy that game. To be honest with
yeah, but it's basically it's a music rhythm game, essentially, but you're playing a trombone.
you.
And the sound is not like, you can't play the trombone the way it normally is. It just sounds very like goofy sounding, like but you're playing like real music though in the game, so,
Yeah.
or trying to at least. um
Definitely be a fun like party game if you have a lot of friends over all the time. This would definitely be a fun party game.
mhm. Yeah, definitely, for sure. And that one is actually out now as well, so that was another one of those out today games. And then moving on, the next game shown was Battle Crush, an online multiplayer battle royale arena game, and it's free to play. It's going to be coming next year. Macho, what did you think of this one?
It reminded me of that other game called Rumbleverse.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that got canceled last year, or
Mm,
not canceled, but shut down.
yeah,
Um, yeah, it looked actually pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was kind of interested in it, to be honest with you.
yeah. So I'm in the same boat. I like this style of game. for sure. There's just never really been a lot of them. This like so basically it's an isometric action game where you're controlling a character. And that character, this is like a kind of a MOBA style thing, right? Like each character has their own unique kit, and it sounds like it said it was like 10 teams of 3 or something like that.
Yeah.
Just get dropped in an arena and it's whoever last man standing kind of thing. Um, you have your so I'm sure there will be team comps and stuff for this kind of game, right? Um but it's almost like Diablo esque, I guess, where it's like it's isometric and it's an action game. So, but it looks cool. There was a game a long time ago I played. I cannot remember the name of it for the life of me. That was similar in styling. And I played the beta of it a really long time ago. And I don't even think the game ever came out, but I was always enamored by. I always think back to that game, and I'm like enamored by the idea of this kind of thing.
Mhm.
So I don't know. It might be something I'd check out. I don't know if I want to play it on Switch though. I kind of hope it like comes to other platforms.
Yeah, I hope it
Um,
comes to like PlayStation or something like that. I don't know if
yeah,
I want to play on the Switch. I think if it does come to PlayStation or PC and it has crossplay, we may be able to get one of our friends to play it with us.
yeah,
I think Jet would be down to play it.
and that'd be 3 people, right? So I don't know. I might check it out when it comes out for sure. It's an interesting one. All right, moving on. Next game shown was a game called War Tales. This is up my alley, for sure. So this is like a adventure RPG with turn-based combat. And it kind of looks like a weird, almost CRPG like game, like Baldur's Gate style. A lot less refined than that, certainly, but I don't know. This one looked interesting to me. What about
Must have
you?
missed this game. Maybe I saw it. I don't know. I thought I knew there was one game. This may be the game I was looking at, and I'm like, oh, this looks kind of cool actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is it. Yeah, I didn't really tweet about it, but I was like, I said in my head, like, I might actually pick this game up for myself.
Yeah.
For
Well, it's out.
myself.
It's already out. It's out right now, dude.
Oh, as it is? Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I might pick this game up. It looks
Yeah.
actually really cool, and it's co-op.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
agree. I was kind of like, huh, interesting. It's like a really small game, but like I don't know, like it's my style of game for sure.
it's on PC. It's on Steam right now.
Oh, okay. That would be
Yeah,
a better place to play it certainly than the
yeah.
Switch.
Yep.
Um, okay, fair enough. All right, moving on. Next game shown was Contra Operation Galuga. Has been announced. This is a reimagining from Konami and WayForward. It has 4-player co-op, and it'll be available next year. Montreal Contra. You ever play Contra?
What are you talking about? I have brothers, man. Of course, I play
Okay,
Contra.
okay. I figured Contra would be definitely your type of game, man. Definitely.
Yeah.
Dude, I Contra for me was not a thing. I fucking could not get into this series at all.
Really?
Well, bro, we talk about hard games, right?
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah.
in the
This guy,
modern in the
this
modern in
guy.
the modern day, and I just think about Contra, and I'm like, bro, we're all arguing about what's hard and what's not. Like, you guys have no fucking idea, man. Just like straight up, like go play Contra, and you'll see what hard is. Okay.
Yeah, Contra, Metal Slug, all those
Yeah.
games. Gunstar Heroes. Yeah.
Holy shit. Like, dude, the original Contra, I feel like I remember, like, didn't you literally could only take one hit, right? And
Yeah,
you
it
would
was
die.
one hit in the original,
Yeah.
like the original NES game. Yeah.
Yeah. And you had to start over, basically.
Yep.
Yeah, the whole level, too. Like, I don't think there was, like, checkpointing or anything like
Well,
that.
you
So,
had lives, and if you ran out of lives, then you had to start the whole level over. Or
mhm.
I think sometime with I think maybe been the whole fucking game. I think it was the whole game.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, for sure. Yeah. So, Contra, really difficult. Super difficult. If you want to really get challenged and want to throw your controller, that is the series to play for sure. But all right, next game shown. All right, man, this was it. This was the moment for this direct where I was, I'm like watching this direct. I'm like, it's all right. It's fine. It's decent or whatever. And then I saw this game and I was like, wait a second. I know this art style. I recognize this. Is this Vanillaware? And then I watched the whole thing, and then at the very end it says Atlas Vanillaware, and I was like, oh fuck yes, I can't believe it. It's been a while since 13 Sentinels came out, though. It makes sense that they're on their next game is, close. And so that's what this is Unicorn Overlord. And this is a dude, when they were showing this, I was like, I cannot believe that Vanillaware is making this game,
Hmm.
It looks like it's a turn-based strategy game. However, it kind of has stylings and uh kind of like a setup similar to Ogre Battle, where you have like squads of units, where it's like you have like 5 or 6 units in it, like characters in like a unit basically, and they fight other units of 5 or 6 characters, and there's like multiple rows, like there's a front row and a back row.
Man, this art style is so fucking cool.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
listening.
Oh yeah, the art style is fucking beautiful. But yeah, and I just dude, we haven't had a game like this, of this from a developer like this, I guess I should say, in a while. There's plenty of indies that have made these types of games,
Yeah,
um but yeah, just getting something like this from Vanillaware though, I mean, I'm all in. I mean, this is a day one purchase for me, dude.
yeah. I think I'm gonna get this game too. This game looks really cool. It reminds
Yeah.
me of another game that I was playing on my. I used to play on the PSP,
Mhm.
and it had the same kind of art style to it, but it wasn't like a tactical RPG. It wasn't a turn-based RPG, but it wasn't a tactical RPG. But I can't remember the name of it right now for the life of me. But I have it on my PS5 like right now.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, Unicorn Overlord. Um, Definitely looks like a very interesting game, certainly. So, I'll be checking that one out for sure. And that is coming on March 8th next year, 2024. So that was probably the most exciting thing for me in this to see this here. I was like, damn, dude, Vanillaware. It's been, yeah, it really has been a few years. So this will be good. These are the guys that made 13 Sentinels, Odin Sphere, among others. They have a very distinct arc style that is very easy to spot if you know them. All right, moving on. Next game, Luigi's Mansion 2 is getting an HD remaster on Switch.
Where did this game come out on originally? Was it the Wii?
3DS.
3DS? Okay.
Yeah, it was 3DS.
Right,
So this
maybe
game
that's
is a
why.
little different from the other two Luigi's Mansions
Hmm.
games. I did not. This is the only one I have not played to completion.
Okay.
For the reason being that it is not structured like an open-ended adventure game. It's more level focused, right? Where the game gives you an objective and you need to complete that objective. And it only gives you access to certain parts of the mansion for that quote mission, and I did not enjoy that as much personally. That wasn't like I didn't like that change in gameplay for this series. So
Okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense. It looked weird to me, maybe because it was on a 3DS or a
yeah,
DS.
3DS.
3DS. Maybe that's why it looks so weird to me. I'm like, man, this game does not look as good as I thought it used to look, and that's because I
Mhm.
probably didn't play it because this is the 3DS game. I played Luigi's Mansion 1, and I think I played 3 as well. But I love Luigi Mansion 1. But
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
this one's level based, so I'm probably not gonna pick this one up. I don't like I like the adventure style of Luigi Mansion 1. Like
yeah. I'm
such a
with
good
you.
game.
I might check it out though. I kind of want to give this game another shot. I mean, because all the gameplay is there, right? It's not like they changed the actual moment to moment gameplay that much. It's just the structure of the game that they changed.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe later on in the game it becomes a little bit more open ended as you get access to more areas of the mansion. Um, I don't know that. I didn't get far enough to really see that. So I do remember early in the game, like you start out doing a very limited section of the mansion, and then you start unlocking additional areas that you can kind of go to in later
Yeah.
missions. And it's not like the old areas aren't accessible anymore. You can go into them. So it may be a situation that it just kind of unlocks more in a um, kind of like cascade, I guess, like that. So
Okay. Yeah,
All
I
right.
mean, I may check it out too.
Yep.
Um, but I do miss Luigi Mansion games, so
Hmm.
they were so fun to me.
I mean, dude, check out Luigi's Mansion 3 if you haven't played it.
I haven't played it. Is it on the Switch?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. It came out, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago. Like
oh
I
shit.
played it and talked about it on the show. So no,
Uh,
that one's it's uh that one is much more in line with the first game, I would say. But it is like you're in a hotel. It's not a mansion. Like
Gotcha.
it's floor based. So each floor kind of has a theme, you know. But
Gotcha.
you are open to explore it as you see fit, basically.
Gotcha. Okay.
Um, you know. So yeah, no, I definitely would recommend Luigi's Mansion 3 for sure. It's a fun game. All right, moving on. The next thing they showed was it's not a game. They announced the Nintendo Museum in Japan. It's coming next year. Not much to say about that. I guess that's cool, but if you ever visit Japan or you live in Japan, this will be a thing for you. Certainly. Then they announced some amiibo figures as well for Zelda, Zelda and Ganondorf from Tears of the Kingdom. Um, and then Noah and Mio from Xenoblade Chronicles 3, which is awesome.
Yeah, I
Uh,
will be picking those up. I gotta
yep.
support Xenoblade.
Hell yeah, dude. And then Sora as the final DLC character getting an amiibo from Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which is cool. That'll probably be hard to obtain. So if you want Sora as an amiibo figure, put a pre-order in. Otherwise, you may not get
Yeah,
one.
there were so many people tweeting about this. You're not going to get it,
Yeah.
unfortunately, because pretty sure you're going to have to stand in line or find some way to get it because
Yeah. Or
that
pay an
Sora is
exorbitant amount of money for it.
yeah, because Sora is going to be sold out within like 2 minutes of being released,
Mm-hmm.
guaranteed.
Most definitely. This will probably be the most popular figure actually they've ever released.
Yep.
I feel like. All right. After that, moving on. They showed dude, F-Zero, right? There were rumors that we were gonna get an F-Zero announcement at this direct, and then we get to this point in the direct, and F-Zero comes on the screen, and I'm like, oh, okay. They're showing the Super NES game. Like, are they gonna make a new one? Are they making a new one? No, no. They're taking the Super NES game and they're making it a battle royale. F-Zero
At this point,
99.
man, I'll take anything I can get.
I know it's not a bad idea. Actually, I remember the GameCube F-Zero had a mode like this. Actually, you
Yep.
remember that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I do.
where yeah, you were playing against. I don't think it was 99, but it was a huge number
It was
of
like 50. I think it was like 50 NPCs you were playing
yeah,
against or something like
right.
that.
And
Yeah.
the idea was you had to win the race, but you could get destroyed.
Yep.
And it's the same thing here. So there's 98 other players, and you need to make first place, basically win the race. But yeah, there's 98 other players, and you can collide into them. But you will take damage if you do that, and eventually, if your damage meter reaches 0, you will explode and you lose, and you're out, basically. There are some additional mechanics as well added to the game that weren't in the original game. It looks like, but yeah, I mean, it looks cool. I honestly like. I'm not against this at all. Like, this looks fun. I might download this and just check it out.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the same way. I think this looks actually really fucking cool. I like the old style of F-Zero. I like all styles of I just fucking like F-Zero.
Mhm.
So I'm I'm going to play it to show support. And hopefully like it garners enough support where they actually make a game because I read an article where they said they just didn't know how to bring F-Zero. They know
Mhm.
people want to play it, but they don't know how to make F-Zero modern, if that makes any sense. Like show more
Mm.
interest in it or something like that.
Mhm.
I think they're just having like a really design flaw with it. So yeah, I've been said though maybe they should take F-Zero into another genre or just make Captain Falcon like an action game or something like that for Captain
Yeah,
Falcon
like
or
a
something
side
like that.
scroller or something. Like a
Yeah,
beautiful Joe style
yeah,
action game for Captain Falcon. Why not?
yeah. I think that would have been cool. But I mean, this is really cool too. So hey, I'll take what I can get, man.
Well, this is also out now, so it's part of the Nintendo Online membership service, and you can download it for free if you have that. So,
Nice.
I'm sure there are tons of people playing it right now. In fact, all right. Next thing shown was from Riot, Bandle Tale, a League of Legends story.
Yeah, I actually didn't even see this one, but I'm watching the gameplay now, and it looks like so Bando City is where all the Yordles are from. So like the
Hmm.
little mouse creatures like Tristana, Timo, fucking Heimerdinger and Lulu and all them people. So it looks like an actual like what's that game? Stardew Valley type game.
Yeah.
But so it looks like you have to craft and stuff like that, but it also has an overarching story to the reasons why you're crafting and everything of that nature. So
Yep.
uh if you like those type of games, pick it up. I may pick it up because I do like crafting and everything like that now. I do like those games where I can just sit back and craft and everything.
Hmm.
Um but I have an overarching story and I have a purpose and a goal. And your fan favorites are here in here. They have Timo, they have Vigar. I think they have Tristana. They showed Tristana, and I
Hmm.
think they showed not Lulu, but the other one, Poppy. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean it looks cool for sure. I do. Well, let's talk about the next game, and then I'll say my thoughts. So the next one was also from Riot, Song of Nunu, a
Hmm.
League of Legends story. Another one of these games. I mean, this one is more of a third person, kind of adventure game. It looks like.
Yeah. I don't really know too much about this game. I actually don't know too much about Nunu, Willip and Nunu. To be honest with you. But yeah, it looks like more like a platforming game, if I can say that.
Hmm.
So it gives me very strong Jack and Daxter vibes when I'm watching it. I can see them going that kind of route with the game or something like that.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I got for it.
Yeah. So yeah, do you find it interesting though that they're choosing to make these games that are expanding the league, I don't know, universe, I guess I would say. And they're choosing to make smaller games rather than making something big, you know?
I think that's the right move.
Yeah.
Uh, I would like them to make a bigger game, but I understand why they're not doing it. League of Legends is big because of League of Legends, the MOBA. Um, but if you put these bite-sized things out and you get it out there and people will play it and everything of that nature, like that we had the League of Legends, the Blade of the Rune or the Rune King. Uh, we had Silas, his League of Legends story. Um, then obviously you got these two League of Legends stories that came out just not or coming out in the future. I think it's really cool to like just put it out there in tidbits, and then you're slowly getting people familiarized with the IP who aren't familiarized with it. Because believe it or not, y'all, there are a lot of people who still don't know what League of Legends is at all.
That's crazy.
Uh, yeah, and a lot of people did not know. And I would actually say I want to say like Overwatch was the reason a lot of people know what League of Legends is now. Not know what it is, but kind of know what the culture is of it. I can't really explain because it's not really a culture thing. It's like you just know the atmosphere or the you're in the orbit of League of Legends because I feel like a lot of Overwatch has character design and similarities to Dota and League of Legends as far as like the way they design their
Mm,
characters and everything like that nature.
hmm.
Because like Tracer, for instance, is nothing but Echo. Like as far as their move sets and
Mm,
how they work and everything. So there's a lot of like you know elements and stuff like that. Um, and then like the whole rank system, obviously, in my opinion, comes from like StarCraft, League of Legends, fucking Dota, and everything of that nature. Uh, I don't know, just the whole idea of like the hero character legend thing and everything like that. So anyway, I'm just saying that to say like I think League of Legends has always been in the orbit of gaming, of like PC gamers, yes, but like not console gamers. So now a lot of people are experiencing League of Legends in console games because like Will and Lil, Nunu and Willip looks like a game that like a kid may pick up and like, oh, that kid
hmm.
looks really cool.
Yeah.
I want to play it, Or Bando City or Bando Tales looks like a game that not even a little kid, like a college student or something like that, who doesn't even understand League of Legends. Maybe they just like those kind of Stardew Valley, type games, and they pick up this game because they're like, oh, this is another crafting harvest type game, Harvest Moon type game or whatever.
Hmm.
And then they're exposed to like League of Legends that way. Blade, or I keep calling Blade the Rune King, but it's just called Rune King. League of Legends Rune King.
Yeah.
Uh, it's a RPG game, so it can grab those people and everything of that nature. And then obviously Silas is one of those old school action games, well, not old school, but it has the art style of like the retro style action
Yeah.
games from Devolver Digital. And if you're a
Yeah.
Devolver Digital fan, then you already know like this game's gonna be really good because it's from Devolver Digital. So it is grabbing different things from different people, and I think they already laid out their. It's actually mind boggling to see, to be honest with you, because
Mhm.
they're also in the fighting game genre
Yep.
with a project. I think it's called Project L,
Yep.
and I'm looking forward to that game. Like, I didn't care if I was ever going to touch the original League of Legends game ever again. I knew when that game dropped, Project L dropped. I was downloading that shit first day because I've been itching to get back into a fighter game, and this looks like the fighting game I want to get back into. And I know y'all Street Fighters out and all that blah blah blah. I'm looking for like a game like this,
Yeah.
like a game to kind of overtake. Ever since Marvel vs. Capcom like kind of left the scene, it filled a void in me. I try to fill that void with like Dragon Ball Z Fighters. Um, but I really didn't like that game too much. I liked it, but it was all right. But yeah, anyway, they did lay this out like 4 or 5 years ago. They said they were going to start expanding League of Legends because they wanted to expand the lore and everything of that nature. And I didn't really take it too seriously because companies always say they want to do something, they have a goal or whatever
Mhm.
the case may be. But you never really see it come to fruition. Like they said that with StarCraft, they said that with fucking Warcraft and everything
Mm.
like that. But they just never expanded on Warcraft outside of World of Warcraft or whatever the case may
Yeah,
be
but
in a
remember
movie.
what we said back when they talked about this? Like this was, I think this was like what, 2020 or something like that.
Yeah.
I remember when they made all these announcements. Like we talked about all the shit on the show, and I remember what we said there was that they are the modern day Blizzard. You know,
Yeah.
it's funny that you're
Yeah.
bringing up Blizzard because yeah, no, they're fulfilling the fantasy that Blizzard wanted to and never did.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah. And this is the moves that Blizzard should have made. And I'm
Yeah.
actually glad they're doing it. I think I've always said League of Legends has a lot more stories to offer outside of the Rift, and I'm glad they're actually exploring
Definitely.
those stories.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Bandle Tales comes out next year, and Song of Nunu is coming on November 1st. Looks like. All right, moving on. Next game shown was a WarriorWare game. WarriorWare Move It.
I'm
You
getting this game, by the way.
are you
I'm
okay?
100% getting this game.
I don't. I don't. You know, I'm sure this is hilarious, right? I'm sure these are hilarious to play. But I just, dude, like watching a trailer for it is just so like I don't know. It's like, how do these sell so much, man? You know, it's like it's just funny.
It looks so fucking stupid, and I know me and
It,
Deanna will
I
fucking
know.
love it one night. Like,
Absolutely. Dude, the one, like the first thing they show is you doing a pose of like laying an egg, you know, and it just looks like you're taking a poop, you know. It's like it's funny as I'm sure it's funny as hell, in multiplayer, but yeah, you know. But yep, another WarriorWare game. It is coming on November 3rd this year. So all right, moving on. Next game was Aiden Chronicle 100 Heroes. Finally got a trailer for this game. I mean, this game's been out in development for a while now. And this is the spiritual successor to Suikoden 1 and 2, made by the same uh, guy who made those games back in the day. Um,
hmm
and that certainly looks like Suikoden to
yes.
me. Yep,
And
100 characters, 100 unique characters, six, six party members at a time, turn-based combat, all that. So,
yeah, this game's also going to be available on PlayStation 5 and
mhm.
Xbox Series X. But yeah, I saw this game and I'm like, yo, I am definitely going to get this game. This
Mhm.
game looks fucking cool to me. I know a lot of people are probably not going to be into it, but I am definitely.
Oh, trust me, there's a lot of people following this one. I'm not into this, dude. I am not in like Suikoden. I tried Suikoden, dude. I did try it, and I just
Mhm.
couldn't get into it, man. I don't know. It's just not for me. It's just not my kind of game, you know.
I would think this would be your type of games that you like the not triangle strategy, but Octopath Traveler. You
I
know.
mean, I liked Octopath, but dude, it's like that game has the same problem I have with all these games, right? Like, like turn-based RPGs like this, the old school turn-based JRPG style. I don't really like that Dragon
Mm.
Quest, Dragon Warrior style
Yeah, that's
JRPG.
true.
I
Yeah.
don't enjoy them. Like I get bored of them eventually. I don't find the combat to be riveting in those games. Like I just don't. You're just pressing A over and over and over again a lot of the time, and it's just not like engaging, at least for the ones that aren't well
Well,
balanced.
I feel like this game is gonna be different,
Probably.
and Suikoden is for me is different as well. I like the effects and everything like that when I'm playing the game. It's a really flashy game and everything. So this one looks really cool, but I definitely agree with you because like, fucking Dragon Age,
Dragon Quest.
Dragon Quest. Um, yeah, those games, man, I can't play those games. I'm just like, yo, you guys can have it. If y'all like this, I will not shit on it. But for me, like you said, it's just way too boring. It is the standard attack, then be attacked, heal if you got a potion or item, or if a character can heal you. There's no special. There's nothing. There's no special mechanics to it at all. You're literally playing it for the story, in my
Hmm.
opinion.
Yeah.
So
Right.
that's cool.
Yeah, and often these games don't have stories good enough to keep me invested. So
Exactly.
yeah,
But
and
you said that you better be lucky you're not like super popular because people would kill you for like that for Dragon Quest. Even though I've been said Dragon Quest is like
bro,
kind of ass to me.
bro,
But
my brother is a Dragon Quest fanatic, dude.
are
He
you
loves
serious?
he loves Dragon Quest, and dude, I've had so many conversations with him where it's like, like I don't get it, man. Like I don't understand how you find this fun. Like, like you literally are just attacking, you're just attacking, and you get attacked, and then you attack, and then you get attacked, and then you heal when your HP's low, and it's like I know. I don't know. Like you can break a lot of games down like that, but that is kind of what it is.
No,
you know, it's
you can break a lot of games down like that, but it's that to its purest form. You
Yeah,
know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
right. There's
Yeah.
just not a lot of I don't know, and maybe newer Dragon Quests there's more nuance to them.
Exactly. Maybe it's a little bit more nuanced. We
I
haven't
haven't
played them.
played them, but they
Yeah.
lost me early. That's the problem,
Yeah.
and I'm not
I think I
interested
played
in
like
going and checking
Dragon
them out.
Quest 8 or 9 or something like that.
Yeah,
And I was just
yeah,
like, I'm good, bro.
yeah. Like I
I
played the
rented it one day.
demo. I played the demo for Dragon Quest 8 back in the day on
Yeah.
PS2, and I thought it was actually really interesting. I enjoyed it, but then I never played the game because I'm just like, I don't know. There's just so many other types of games I would rather be playing. And then I did play Dragon Quest. Was it 9 or 10? I forget which one was on DS.
It might have been 9 because I
I
think
think
10 came out on the PS4.
I think 10 is the MMO, isn't it?
The MMO. They had the MMO.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah. Yeah.
god.
They do.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Dragon Quest
Yeah.
11 is the most recent one. That's the one that came out on PS4.
Okay.
Yeah, I think 10 is the MMO. But whichever one I played on DS, I played on DS, and I actually beat that one, right? So I'm not talking out of my ass here. Like I've played a Dragon Quest game to completion before, and yeah, dude, the game is like you have this one is a little different from others, right? It's not your party is a bunch of nameless made up characters that you make, like they're avatars basically, and none of them speak. You don't even speak, like your character is also silent. However, your character is a player within the story, like like they are an agent within the story, right? They do things and they have an impact on the world and stuff like that, but the rest of your party basically doesn't exist in the story. So it's a weird game, but the gameplay though is very Dragon Quest, but it is literally like attack, 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 and then you heal. It's like, and it's funny because the game has like a class system and stuff where you can have different classes for your characters, but I just don't remember. From what I remember, none of that really mattered all that much. It's just like
It probably did matter. You probably didn't get far enough to care.
No, dude, I beat the game. Like I remember I grinded and shit. Like I played the game the way you're supposed to play it, and I don't know. It just didn't seem like there was like a thief class and you could like steal shit, and I'm like, why? Who cares? Like I don't know. It's
You
just
know
a
what?
thing with me. It's just a
The,
thing with me.
the game that obviously Toriyama kind of like art style made that I did like was Blue Dragon.
Mm.
And I
Hmm.
tried to play Blue Dragon again, and I quickly realized it's nothing but Persona.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's still, it's Persona but without the flash. And
Yeah.
at the time, I liked the game, but I play it now, and I'm like, it's nothing but
You're
Persona
right.
but
I'm
without the
glad you bring
flash.
up Persona, right? Because
Yeah,
I love Persona 5, right? And I
yeah.
fucking evangelize the shit out of that game on the show. But I will tell you guys that the combat in Persona is the worst part of the game. You know, like it is easily the worst part of the game, and it's not even fucking close. Like, and I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just
No, you're
saying
not.
that if I was playing a lesser game, I would have dropped it halfway through. Because of the gameplay. Like, but the thing is, everything else around that is so high quality and so fucking good. This story is amazing. The characters are amazing. The moment to moment gameplay outside of combat is amazing, like to the point that it kept me going with the game, right? um Dragon Quest doesn't have any of that. It's like, dude, give me a break. I'm sure there's a Dragon Quest game that has a really good story, but I've never played it. I don't care. Like, like Dragon Quest 9 story was not anything. It's, dude, it's just whatever. Like I don't even know why I beat that game in retrospect, because I didn't enjoy it. So I don't know. Like with a game like this, I need the story to be very engaging. I need the characters to be engaging. I need to be care about that plot. Otherwise I'm not. This is why I don't like Final Fantasy 7 too. It's like, I don't find Final Fantasy 7
Uh oh.
sucks to
Uh
play.
oh. Uh
Like,
oh.
no, the original game sucks to play. I'm 100% serious about this. Like, you don't fucking do anything. You can play the whole game and just hit the attack command. Like, you literally don't fucking almost ever have to think in the game. And then you use your limit breaks. It's like, I
It
just,
is. I think Final Fantasy VII, if I remember correctly, is real time combat. Not real time,
no,
but
it's
like active
ATB,
time.
yeah, but it's the
TV.
same,
Yeah.
dude. Okay, if you're engaged in the game, it's the same fucking thing. Like, it's not that big of a difference. Like, yeah, sure, you can't walk away and go take a shit in the middle of a combat, but
You're speaking so much. I agree with you, by the way.
yeah.
I'm just saying you're speaking blasphemous right now.
I
Like
know, I know.
if we were
I would,
super
I would
popular,
get reamed,
you
dude.
would
This would
get.
be taken out of context. People would clip this. I would have fucking like streamers being like, "Who is this fucking clown?"
Every
Yeah,
time you mention
definitely.
a video game, like a video game opinion, people will point back to this
Yeah,
clip and be like, he doesn't
absolutely.
even like Final Fantasy VII. So
Yeah, his opinion's stupid, but no, it's, dude. The thing is, right? Okay, I love Final Fantasy VII Remake. I fucking love that game. It's one of the best games I've played in the last decade, probably. You know, it's the gameplay though. The obviously the presentation is way better. It's a modern game. It has great graphics. Isn't the full game either. But it's like the original incarnation of Final Fantasy VII is a style of game that I just do not enjoy. You know,
yeah,
and the story presentation in that game is um at times not very good. you know and I don't think the story in that game is as incredible as everyone else does, and it didn't keep me. I beat the game, by the way, in its original form, so again, not talking out of my ass, like I've played and beaten the game. I just, like, when you put it next to other games that I've enjoyed immensely in my life, like
yeah.
Tactics Ogre or Final Fantasy Tactics, like, I just don't think it is in that realm for me personally. But again, this is an opinion. Like, it's not an
It did
objective
no.
fact.
You
You know,
you are entitled to your opinion.
I know. I'm gonna get blasted someday when I say this, and in the wrong
I'm,
place to the
I'm gonna
wrong
I'm
person.
gonna clip it when we get big. Not if we get big. When we get big, I'm gonna remember this episode. And I'm like, hey guys, this is what your favorite podcaster said about
Montrell,
Final
don't
Fantasy
don't
VII.
do this to me. Don't do this to me. Look, man, you're gonna take me down like that? God.
No, I mean I'll probably get taken down too because uh I'll probably get ratioed. That's
Mm-hmm.
what the kids call it.
Yeah.
Because I did get ratioed earlier this week actually.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're gonna
by
get
somebody.
ratioed for our opinion on Kingdom Hearts 3, so you better be
Oh,
ready for
you
that
know what?
someday.
I don't think so. I think people came around to understanding why we don't like Kingdom Hearts 3.
Why did it take them 4 years? Can you explain that to me? Why are people so like I don't this is what I don't understand, dude. Because this happened with Breath of the Wild too. And it's happened with countless games, right? Where it's like
I still think we will get destroyed for Breath of the Wild. Breath of
I
the
don't think
Wild is
so.
still considered like a really good game.
No,
I
and
think Tears of the
there's
Kingdom
plenty of
was just
people that agree with our opinion on that game though.
yeah, that's true. I think Tears of the Kingdom is vastly superior, and now it shows the flaws of Breath of the Wild. But at the time, yes, I would agree with you. We would have got killed for Breath
And
of
I
the
just
Wild.
hate the way people talk about Breath of the Wild. Like it's some revolution in open world game design. Like, what are you talking about? It's just like
Yeah, people do talk about it that way, and I don't even say anything. Like
no, I
people I
know you have
love.
to be silent because you're
Yeah,
gonna
I
get
just
destroyed. You're
yeah,
just
I just
yeah.
they're like, oh
I
my
know.
god, bro, it's just open world and you can do anything you
It's
want to do.
changed gaming since then. You know, it's like, what do you mean it's changed gaming? Like,
And you ask them how, and they just can't really explain it.
they
It's like,
pointed
oh wait,
Elden Ring now. That's how it changed gaming. Is like Elden Ring takes so much from Breath of the Wild, and I'm like, I mean, maybe it fucking does, but From Software are very capable developers that and they can certainly make their own games. You know, if Breath of the Wild hadn't come out, I don't think it would have had that much of a material effect on what Elden Ring became. You know, like
you know what I think it did? Okay, this is what I think it did. I think
yeah,
it moved the landscape forward for open world games.
yeah,
And what I
I'll give
mean
it
by
that.
that,
I'll give it
yeah,
that.
and
It reset open world games. That's what I'll say.
yes,
I
it
don't,
did.
but it's not a revolution in that way, you know. Like it
Well,
didn't do
it took
anything
the
particularly new, you know.
it didn't, but the simple fact of like you said doing the reset, right? Like when I play Breath of the Wild, my map isn't filled with like a whole bunch of
Markers, yeah,
Ubisoft clutter and all that shit like that, right? It's just like I have to discover the map and I can do anything in any order.
yeah,
At the time, if I may be wrong on this, but like a lot of games were open world, but they still had like a storyline structure
yeah,
to open parts of the open world, right? This
mhm,
was like it wasn't the first game to do it, but this was like the first major AAA game to be like, you if you want to go fight Ganondorf right now with 3 hearts and the stick, bro, and the shield, you can go do that right now, and if you win, you beat the game. And
mhm,
I think that people were just so enamored by that. And on top of that, it was like all the different systems in the game, the physics system in the game, uh, uh, even like you can start wildfires and all this shit like that. And it was just an open world Zelda game. Like I look at Tears of the Kingdom now, and all the physics and shit you can do in that game is fucking insane. What I see Dion do, I'm like, dude, what the fuck? This is on a Switch game. Like, this is insane what you can do. And I think that too, it being on the Switch game or on the Switch at the time was just mind boggling. Like people
mhm,
just couldn't fucking believe it.
right,
So uh I understand it now, but at the time, I I was just like, bro, this game's boring as fuck to me. Like, why am I playing
yeah,
this shit?
yeah.
Like, so
No, and I mean,
I get it now.
I'm talking about it. So, like, again, you guys have to remember, like, my second playthrough of the game, like, I was much more positive about
Oh
it.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
like, go listen to those episodes. They're there. You know, I think this is around 2020 or so.
yeah,
Somewhere in there that I was playing the game and or it might have been 2019. I think it was actually 2019 now that I think about it. But in the summertime. But yeah, like I'm not again, I'm not saying it's a bad game, you know? Like so, you know, whatever. We gotten severely sidetracked here.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
The
yeah,
point
yeah.
is I don't like traditional turn-based JRPGs.
Yes.
That's it.
I don't know
I
how
don't
we
like
got
they need to
here,
be
but
they need to
yeah,
be extremely special for me to play them, you know?
yeah,
And is Aiden Chronicle that game? Probably not. So I'm sure
understandable.
I'm sure that'd be a controversial statement too, but the game's not out, so don't pontificate about how good it is before you've fucking played it. All right, moving on. The next game is shown was Eastward Octopia DLC. This is like a Stardew Valley style game. It looks like. I don't know much about it. But anything you want to say, Montreal, on this one?
Yeah, I don't know too much about this game, unfortunately, myself. So
Fair enough. It's coming this holiday. Moving on because we got still got a ton to get through, dude.
yeah,
Um, next game shown was actually Wargroove 2, which if you guys remember, I did play the first Wargroove to completion and did enjoy it a lot. I will say I was a little disappointed with this trailer after so long. Like I played this game years ago,
yeah.
and I'm gonna be honest, it doesn't look like it's evolved that much, at least from from first blush. Because there's some reuse of characters in here, and character models that you know
Mm,
I don't know how that's going to play out in the actual game, but there were a number of leaders and things like that are in the original game that are in here,
okay.
and I don't, that's a little that'll be a little disappointing if that like is actually in the main storyline of the game, but I don't know, can't really judge it based on the trailer shown, but it's just something I noted. Did you you never played Wargroove, right? Did you have any interest in it?
I do have interest in it because I know this is like a spiritual successor to
Advance Wars, yep,
Advanced Wars.
yep,
So I do want to play it when I have time. I actually have it downloaded on or I have it in my my shop rather
yep,
on eShop. So I have it downloaded already, or I can download it anytime I want to.
yep.
Because I remember you were playing it because I think we were talking about Advanced Wars and then War Groups came out as well
Yeah, I don't know
around the
what made me
time.
start this game, but
Yeah, I can't remember
I
why.
just started playing it and I was like, I had never played Advance Wars, and I think I wanted to just see what a game like this was like.
Yeah,
And
and
it
I know
it
this is
turned out
like a
to be really
spiritual
fun.
successor to it. Yeah, so this one looked cool to me. You are right. I thought this was DLC to War Groove, like one.
No,
Um,
no,
because like all the stuff that you can do with it, I do like that you can actually make your own campaign and make people
that
play
is
the
cool.
campaign.
That
That's
is
really
cool.
cool.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. I may just pick up War Group 2. Since I haven't really played War Group 1.
Hmm.
But I don't know.
Yeah, that may
It
be
looks really
better.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It also has co-op online and local as well,
Yeah.
which is going to be that's interesting. That's certainly a major feature. So, I don't know how that's even going to work necessarily, but that'd be cool though. I don't know. So I may check it out. It depends. Like it's kind of one of those things with a game like this. If it's $20 at launch or $25 at launch, I might think about picking it up. If it's anything more than that, like if we're talking like 40,
Mhm.
yeah, I don't know. It's just I don't feel like it's a game that I'd probably wait till it was on sale personally, but um
Uh, did you just want to like go through some of the major points for like the next stuff? I know there's like one more game that you really want to talk about at the end here. You can skip that.
yeah, there's a game called Dave the Diver. You're like a cook and you go get your own fish. That looked weird. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe final DLC booster pack or track pass finally coming out after 3 years. Among Us is getting a new map, and that's pretty much it. And then the final reveal, which was Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door.
I knew you
Um,
were waiting for this, right? You were waiting for this game, right?
um, yeah. So yeah, this is awesome. They're basically remaking this game for Switch. And this is from the GameCube.
Oh, this is a
Paper.
remake. This isn't a new one. I
No,
thought
it's
this
not
was
a
a
new one.
new.
It is not a new
Okay.
one. No, no, no.
Okay.
This came out in 2004 on GameCube. It is an excellent game. It is the sequel to the 1997, I think, original Paper Mario that was on N64. And this is like it's kind of I'd say almost the series. This series became a spiritual successor to Super Mario RPG in a way.
Yeah.
In that it is a kind of an RPG, but it's a really unique take on that idea. And it's a very very cool. This game and the original are excellent games. Like they're super good. The series kind of fell apart after this, and became a lot different and not nearly as good.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is awesome. I don't have a lot to say about it. I mean, it seems like they're being pretty faithful to the original game, for the most part, and they're bringing it to Switch. So, I mean, it's coming next year in 2024. Have you ever played Paper Mario? Any of these games?
No, I've heard from people that are like super excellent. Everybody I talk to that has played Super Paper Mario
Yeah,
are like, it's one of the best games ever. Like I've
it
never heard
is
anybody say anything bad about
genuinely,
it.
Genuinely, it is that
Even on
good.
my timeline, I saw people were like, "I'm crying right now. I can't believe it's coming back," and everything. So
It is weird that they're doing this game though, and not the first one. I guess the first one is more available than this game is in general. I think the first one is on Nintendo Online,
mhm.
so it's available to play through that method. So maybe they felt like they wanted to get this one out in some way so people could play it. But I definitely would recommend playing the first one if you guys can. Same to you, Montreal. Like if you have this weird thing about RPG, like Mario RPG, like this, I would say go to this before Super Mario RPG. This is not like a JRPG in that way that Super Mario RPG is. Like it's really unique own thing. And there's platforming in these games. There's character building.
Mhm.
There's certainly an element to grinding at times, but not a ton of it. But honestly, there's a lot of platforming and exploration though in these games that is really cool. And it's unique. It kind of plays with the Mario platforming in a lot of ways, and it uses that paper design style. You can see it in the trailer actually if you're watching it, where you can you can kind of go through like really small cracks between buildings because you're paper. You're made of paper,
Yeah.
um, and things like that. So there's some cool design elements like that that you get to play around with as well. So
Nice.
yep. All right, and that was it for the direct. So Montreal, what did you think overall?
Uh, it was, going through it again. When I saw it live, I was like, "Meh," and going through it now, I think it was actually a pretty decent direct. To be
Yeah,
honest with you.
it was decent. I think it's indicative though. Nintendo is certainly winding down here with the
Yes.
Switch.
Yep.
This we're definitely getting towards the end of its life, certainly, because it's a lot of remakes, a lot of small games. I'd say Super Mario Bros. Wonder is probably the biggest game they have coming out in the next that they've announced so far.
Hmm.
And that's not like a humongous AAA game necessarily. Um, so so yeah, I mean, I think this is certainly it's pretty good. I think they did a decent job of definitely keeping people engaged, certainly within their ecosystem, but it's not the best direct I've ever seen, but it's also not bad either. I think it's right kind of in the middle for me. So all right, let's move on to our other stream that happened. This one we'll probably go through a little bit more quickly. Would you
Yes.
agree?
Hmm.
Yeah, all right. I'm not gonna go game by game here. So, what do you want to talk about with this one specifically?
Uh, I think the only game I want to talk about with this, I mean, obviously Spider-Man's coming out. I mean, Spider-Man looked really cool, to be honest with you.
Yep.
I like they said it was 65 different suits and then almost 200 different ways to customize said suit.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's really cool. I like how you can switch characters on the fly.
Yep.
Um, and I also like how they showed a lot of Spider-Man, but didn't show a lot of it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I like that. It's still a lot of mystery element to it and everything of that nature.
Yep.
Um, it was another game that came out that I did want to talk about.
Tales of Arise
Yeah, Tales of Arise. So
DLC.
I said on my Twitter, if you follow me, I was like, "Oh my god, yawn! Another Tales of Arise DLC, another Tales of Arise DLC, yawn." Then I said, "I will be buying it no matter what. I will be buying this game because I don't know, it just looked cool."
November
So
9th. Okay, this is I will give them this, right? We both admit that the game is the world is interesting,
yes,
right? We said that about the game. As much as we talk shit about it now, right? If you
yep,
go listen to our reviews about it, there was a point, up until like halfway to 2/3 through the game, where Montrell and I were super fucking positive about this game, you know. And you will hear that, and then you get to the final review discussion that we had, and it turns into a very we go to a very dark place with this game. And I'm sure it's was a very funny progression to watch or to listen to. But so the idea of doing a DLC set after the main story, I actually think is intriguing because
yes.
there's not like
We're
we're
not
done
dealing
with
with
the
that
bullshit.
story.
The
Yeah, we're
bullshit's
done with
over,
that story. Yes,
the
yes,
bullshit that happened at the end of the game is done. They're not
yes.
they can't rehash that. Hopefully, maybe they can figure out a way to do that.
I don't.
But
Please, God.
but this will be more focused on the world itself, and I think that was the most interesting part of Tales of Arise, that and the
Yes.
characters,
Yes.
So
We said that. We said the
yeah.
world is interesting.
Mhm.
The politics that
Yep.
they set up were interesting until they. I'm
Right.
not going to get into that, but yes, I'm glad that I want to see what's going to happen now. How the world has progressed. They said it's a year after those events, and yeah, I'm just interested in seeing everything.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's coming in November as well, November 9th this year. So I'm sure it'll be priced appropriately as a DLC. I think it is interesting though that this is coming out 2 years after the game. That's a long time.
Yeah, it might be a lengthy DLC.
Yeah. Yeah. Meaning like 20 plus hours maybe. Like
Probably. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised by that. So because yeah, at first when they were showing this, I was like, they're not doing a sequel to this game, are they? And then we got deeper into it, and I'm like, there's no way. They're just gonna rehash all the same area. Like, no, dude. So a DLC makes sense for this game.
I'm
Certainly.
actually surprised they didn't do a part 2.
Yeah.
I think this game sold really well. So
Yeah. But it's kind of disappointing though that this is the Tales announcement that we're getting 2 years after this game. Like, we're not getting a new game. But I don't know.
I'll take what I can get, I guess.
Yeah, I know. It's whatever too. It's like I'm not even that excited about Tales anymore, so I'm not gonna be that mad that they're not announcing a new game. It's whatever. All right. The other thing I wanted to mention myself was Honkai Star Rail on PS5 is coming on October 11th, so I may switch over to that.
I was going to say, does everything carry over?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all one account. I'll just log in with my, I have to tie my HoYoverse account to PlayStation, which I've already done for Genshin.
Okay.
But yeah, everything should carry over. I think the only thing that won't would be certain currencies in the game, like the premium currencies. I don't know. I think it's only the ones you've purchased wouldn't carry over.
Okay.
The ones you've earned in the game, I think would, but I'll find out, I guess, when the game comes to PlayStation. For sure. What else? There was Foam Stars again. I can't believe they're still trying to push this game. Like,
yeah, I just say Splatoon's already out.
Yeah.
Wow.
Leave it alone. Like this niche is handled. And then Final Fantasy VII Rebirth at the end. I mean, obviously, any thoughts on that one?
I mean, it's nothing really too much to say. The game looks really good.
It just looks sick. Yeah.
It looks like there's not too much to like fanboy over, because it's like, I just want to fucking play the game. They said it's supposed to have hundreds of hours of gameplay though.
Jesus Christ.
So,
dude, you believe Nomura? Come on, man.
I don't know. This one is 2 disc. This was 2 discs.
True. Yeah, but that could be all cutscenes, like. Then again, I don't know. I want to give Nomura. I'm going to give Nomura the benefit of the doubt. Okay, he blew me away with Final Fantasy VII Remake. I didn't expect that from him. I didn't expect that from Square Enix, and what we got was one of the best games of the generation. So I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. If he says there's hundreds of hours of content in this game, then you know what, Nomura, I'm gonna wait till the game comes out and we'll see. So February 29th though, 2024. Anything else you want to say about that one?
Nope, that's it. Delete that box is too small for you. Okay, I'm sorry. My cats have invaded my room.
All right, let's move on. So this would have been the leading news story if we didn't have 2 streams this week. So Unity's had a rough week, man. And I don't even know how to set the stage for this one because so much has happened. So I guess let's start at the beginning. Unity came out earlier this week and said that they are changing the way they monetize their engine, and they are going to start charging developers per install of the game, and this change was going to be retroactive. So if you've made a game with Unity, you would be subject to charges based on the number of installs of the game that have happened. Now, this was quickly the holes were poked in this, right? Using installs as your way of monetizing this was going to be extremely easily exploitable by bad actors out there. And
Mm-hmm.
many people pointed this out. But it was the first thing I thought of was, dude, it's not hard to set up a script to just install and uninstall a game over and over and over again. And then if you want to get more advanced, if you have access to VMware, you just spin up a bunch of VMs and run said script on those VMs endlessly and endlessly and endlessly and endlessly. And
Yep.
you just keep doing it over and over and over again infinitely. And bang, you've put Square Enix out of business, you know? So yeah, this they walked it back a little bit after the initial backlash, and they basically said that it'll be unique installs, like per unique user. How they're going to determine that is extremely unclear, and they have not really given definitive criteria for how they're going to determine what a unique install is. Because DJ was telling us, you know, or was talking about how when a game installs that's using Unity, there's an agent that basically, like, you can't take it out of the installer, and
Yeah.
it basically communicates back to Unity essentially. And if that's
Yep.
if that's what they're going to use to determine this, I don't know how they're going to differentiate between a unique install and a non-unique install. If I install the game, and then I uninstall the game, how does the game know that it's previously been installed?
It could have put some hidden kind of registry in the system to where it
Maybe
can tell
that it checks.
Yeah, that
But
it checks.
again, exploitable. Like,
Yeah, I was gonna say,
if
like,
you're smart enough,
the
and you
VMware
know
can
where
get
it
apart.
is, put
Yep.
it in your script, one line, delete blah, you know, in the registry.
Yep.
Like, that's not hard to do. Like, not hard at all.
I mean, they even the VMware can circumvent that, because almost
Right.
each unique VMware is
Would be a unique
virtual
install.
machine. Yeah, a different
Right.
machine. So
Yeah.
even if they do somehow get your MAC address for, like, I know some games, that's how they do hardware bans. They can actually, like, grab the MAC address of your your motherboard or something of that nature, and then ban you off that, and you can't play with that specific system anymore. So like, the VMware just negates all that. I don't know. I just think this is I think that I think they ran it back even some more. I was reading a tweet today about it. Unfortunately, I didn't tag the tweet though, because I was doing a lot of other stuff. But I should have tagged you in it. But yeah, from what we know, like, this is terrible. Like, I'm not even a game designer or anything like that. The gamers and developers alike were just like, how are you gonna do this? So another interesting thing that a lot of people were missing out on. Hold on real quick. I'm sorry. Can you talk real quick? I just gotta close my door.
I got you. Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm trying to pull up. Montrell sent some information about this that I wanted to read on here. There was something I found too. There was an article I found about this where they had their this was on their official FAQ.
Yeah.
So quote, question: how are you going to collect installs? We leverage our own proprietary data model. We believe it gives an accurate determination of the number of times the runtime is distributed for a given project. We believe. They're not even certain. You know, there's not even certainty in that statement. Like, that's crazy. They're going to guesstimate how many times your game has been installed and charge you based on that. That's insane. There's no way that would fly. Then there was another one in here about retroactive. Let me find that here. Yeah. Are these fees going to apply to games which have been out for years already? If you met the threshold 2 years ago, you'll start owing for any installs monthly from January. No, in theory, it says they'll use previous installs to determine threshold eligibility, and then you'll start owing them for the new ones. And the answer was yes. Assuming the game is eligible and distributing the Unity runtime, then runtime fees will apply. We look at a game's lifetime installs to determine eligibility for the runtime fee. Then we bill the runtime fee based on the new installs that occur after January 1, 2024. Like, dude. And some people were listing games that are on Unity, like Genshin Impact's on Unity, Honkai Star Rail's on Unity. There were some other big games. I'm trying to remember. Pokemon. Then which one? It was Brilliant Diamond, right?
Yeah.
The remakes of Gen 4. Yeah, that was on Unity. Like, dude, you can't be retroactive with this, you know? Like, you can't go in and say, hey, we're going to charge you for, however many years since you've been using our engine, and just change the terms of service all of a sudden and be like, ha ha ha, you owe us this giant bill. Like, bro, that is horrible. That is a horrible partnership that you have.
Well,
Like, you have destroyed trust with so many
oh
developers.
yeah,
With
it's already done.
It's
In my
over. Yeah.
opinion, I think the trust is already destroyed. I'm surprised actually that developers like Nintendo and everybody like that, Game Freak, didn't come out against this, and maybe they didn't want to do it like in the public
Publicly.
face.
Yeah.
Yeah, they probably are talking to like Unity like right now though. I wouldn't be surprised, or maybe Unity has some kind of special deal with them. Because in this subscription tier, like you only get, if you have the premium enterprise version, you're only getting charged like a penny or something like that, right? Or maybe even half a penny, I think it is.
Yeah.
But that's still a lot. Like for the regular subscribers that have like the regular Unity subscription model, I think it's like 20 cents.
Yeah.
Or it goes up to 2 cents. And I was just doing some calculations. Like if you get like 1,000 downloads or 100,000 downloads, that's like $20,000 or something like that, I
Yep.
think.
It's a lot of money.
So yeah, it's a shit ton of money. So it's like, that's crazy to me. That's like 1/5 of your income if let's just say if your game was $1 and 100,000 people downloaded it, that's 1/5 of your income that you made from your game off that alone. Gone. Another thing people don't realize too is a lot of Flash developers went over to Unity. So remember the Flash games we used to play like on Newgrounds and everything like that. A lot of those developers took up Unity as their base. So they're making a lot of web-based games off Unity. So just, you can only imagine if there's a popular web-based game that's on Unity, like if you click it, like it has to download to your system or like download a cookie to your system for temporary play and everything like that. And even if it's downloaded from the server, it's still downloading. That's an install. So every time you reload a page, you can bankrupt that particular user. Like, that's crazy, right? Exactly.
Yeah, man. No, it doesn't make any sense, dude. Like, there's so many ways to exploit this. Even if you try to do it per unique user, like, unless your criteria of counting is ironclad in some way, that isn't manipulatable at the local device level, you're not gonna get around the fact that malicious actors could take advantage of this, dude. Like, you know, like you were saying, hiding something in the registry. I don't care where you hide it. Once people find it, they're gonna exploit
people are
that.
gonna find it. Yeah, people.
Yeah,
data miners are fucking geniuses. They're gonna find this shit,
dude. Yeah, they data mining a game like that. That is like, so yeah, they can find shit on their own machine. I guarantee you. You know, unless even if you try to obfuscate it as deeply as humanly possible, you know. I just don't think you're gonna get away with it. People will find out. Plus, this is public. You made this public as well, by the way. So it's like everyone knows it. So if people want to be malicious, they now know that, oh, okay, well, I just need to figure out, like, you know, a malicious community can work together and figure out how to manipulate this, you know, and exploit it. It's ridiculous. Like, how do you come up with a pricing model that consumers can exploit and damage the company selling the product? That is insane.
It's so bizarre. It's actually like the first instance I've seen of something like this where people are like,
agree. Yeah,
I can't sell my game, guys, because if you buy it too much, I may go bankrupt. That's insane to me. Like, what?
Right.
Like, yeah, if you download it too much, guys, I may go bankrupt. But it's popular. Yeah, I got the low tier subscription, so if it goes over this amount, I will get charged a lot of money, and that's not, you know. But if you're wondering, how could they do this? How did this get past the board of directors? How are the investors doing this? So,
Guess
history,
who, everybody.
What's his last name? I can't pronounce his last name.
John Riccatello.
Yeah, John Riccatello.
Guess who?
And if you don't know who this guy is, he used to be a part of EA. He was a part of EA from like 97 to 94, 91 or something like that. And then he came back and from like 04 to like 07 or something. Not even 07.
It was close. I think it was 2010 or something.
2010, yeah, okay.
I mean, I'll look.
Yeah, so but either way, during that time,
This is the time that EA was voted the worst company ever in America.
Multiple times.
Multiple
by the way.
times. And he's also, so I don't know if you guys remember this weird era. There was this weird era of gaming in the 360 and PS3 era where if you bought a used game to play it online, you had to pay an online code. So you bought the used game. I remember because it was for Frontlines. Frontlines was one of the games you had to do it for.
Oh yeah, everybody did this shit for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you bought the game used, a lot of developers or a lot of publishers were getting upset that GameStop was making a killing off of used games at the time. So to circumvent this, they punished us, the gamers, and you had to buy an online code. Once you got the game say, "Hey, you can play the single player, but if you want to play online, you got to pay. You got to get this online code and download it." So you had to pay $10 to get the online code, and then it was actually called Operation $10 or Project $10 in EA's thing or whatever. And he was the spearhead behind that. And then other companies, other publishers followed suit with that. So yeah, he also had he did like a earnings call, not even earnings call, it's like something where you're talking directly to the investors, and they were talking about Battlefield. This is before Battlefield 3 came out, I believe. And he was talking about monetization. He's like, imagine he said like he's played like a lot of mobile games at the time, and he's like, I play mobile games and I'd be deep into them where I would pay like $1 to just progress to the next level or something like that, like Candy Crush or some shit. And he said, so imagine guys, if you're playing Battlefield and you need to reload, but you get a pop-up saying you need $1 to reload. That's one way we can monetize the game. And he was like dead serious about that.
Imagine. So he was CEO of EA from 2007 through 2014. That was his second stint with the company, which is when these multiplayer passes were being, or online passes were being pushed out, and that came from EA. And then he also introduced loot boxes in FIFA 09.
Yep.
That was when they were first introduced into the series.
And
then this is also the guy that called game developers who don't put monetization in their games fucking idiots a few years back as well. So he's he's quite the character.
Yeah, quote for quote. I mean, he said fucking idiots. Like, like we're not making that up.
Yeah.
So yeah, this guy is definitely like the villain. Like the little, twirling your fucking mustache villain. Like, how can I get more money out of anyone?
Yeah, well, interesting that he's been with Unity for 8 or 9 years, though. He's been with Unity since 2014 when he left EA.
Yeah, and you know how he left EA? I think he had to resign because they were losing too much money.
Yes, they were in a bad spot. That period of EA was one of the worst.
Oh yeah,
they were. I think isn't that when they closed Maxis and shit, and stuff like that. When did EA close?
They closed like several studios, bro.
Oh yeah. Oh, it was 2015. But I think the reasoning that happened was set in motion by his during his leadership stint. So
yeah, I remember reading his resignation letter and everything. I heard it was pretty, like, he was like very apologetic and everything like that for what he did to the company. It was a amicable leave, but it was like either you leave or we're gonna fire you type deal,
dude. Yeah. So here's a list of studios that EA shuttered. Phenomic Game Development. This was a studio created in 1997. They closed in 2013. This is the studio that made The Settlers 2, Spellforce 1 and 2, and these are well-known PC franchises. They closed They closed Mythic Entertainment in 2014, which this is the team that made Dark Age of Camelot, the famous MMORPG, and Warhammer Online: Age of Reckoning. Maxis as well that I mentioned. We all remember what was the one that Amy Hennig was a part of? They were making a Star Wars game. Oh my god. They made Dead Space. Visceral Games.
Visceral Games.
They closed them as well. That was not Riccatello though. That happened a few years back. Let's see what other ones we got here. Pandemic Studios
made
Star Wars Battlefront titles. Yeah, and that was in 2008 that they were closed. So that was also during his tenure. Also, Westwood Studios, which is they made the Dune 2 RTS. as well as the Command and Conquer titles, also, and they were closed. It doesn't say what year they were closed, but I remember that closure though. That was, I think that may have also been during his tenure. So yeah, this guy was great at EA, right? He did great things.
Yeah, so
So
I just maybe because I'm not a CEO, bro. I don't get how they get hired back again.
he greenlit Anthem too, probably. Now that I think about it, think of the time frame. I think it was like, wasn't it 2012 they started working on Anthem?
Yeah, that was. Oh my god.
Yeah, so whatever you guys think about EA today, I know we talk a lot of shit about Madden, right, and FIFA on this podcast, but I think we've also given EA some credit in recent years for changes
Yeah.
they made as a publisher. They are a much better publisher now than they were 10, 15 years ago.
Oh yeah, they
It
were
can get a
fucking
lot
terrible
worse.
during the 360.
Yeah.
360 era,
Oh,
man.
yeah, it can get a lot worse, guys. And this is the guy. Also, Mutt was developed under his tenure. I believe it was the 2012 Madden. That was the first time Madden Ultimate Team became a thing. So
God.
you can thank him for that too. So
That shit would not die.
yep. And I mean, a lot of things came out of this period of EA that are prevalent in the industry now. Or were at in recent years as well, like loot boxes.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man. Like I don't understand how he keeps getting hired, and I don't understand. I mean, there has been controversy with Unity. I know over the asset store there are some
Yes.
things going on with that as well. I think we
Yeah.
covered it, but we didn't go into super
Yeah,
detail
it
with
was.
it.
I think it was people selling stolen assets, maybe.
Okay, maybe that's what it was.
Or I think it was more the store bought assets being used to make entire games and not being modified in any way.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't know. The company, in my opinion, has been pretty quiet and not quick to evolve. Like Unreal has evolved, and all these other engines have evolved. He's probably the reason too why, you know, EA is still on Frostbite. If you think about it, so
That started with him too, I think.
it might have.
No, Frostbite. I think Frostbite started in that era, that PS3 era.
Okay, yeah. So
they started using it.
He might have been the reason why they wanted to do that, to kind of cut down costs and everything. We'll just use the Frostbite engine. I mean,
yep, 2008.
Yep, there he goes. Never mind. Yep. So
every bad decision EA's made in the last 15 years can point back to John Riccatello. It's fucking hilarious.
So I truly think he probably stunted the growth of Unity, in my opinion. I remember Unity was like neck and neck with Unreal, and then obviously Fortnite took off, and they had a lot more money to develop with and make Unreal 5 and stuff like that. But yeah, I feel bad for people. Like one of my other friends, DJ's not developing on Unity; he's on Unreal 5. But one of my other friends is developing on Unity, and now he's like, I have to switch. Like, if this game I make pops off, I can go bankrupt. This can bankrupt me. So.
Oh, a lot of developers, indies have been coming out all over the place, but a lot of them are saying that they are legitimately thinking about moving their game to another engine, which is a massive effort.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's not a copy and paste thing.
Yeah, you don't just copy fucking paste. Like, that is a huge amount of effort. Like, literally could cost them a year probably of development or more, potentially, depending on the game, like what the game is and how complicated it is and how many assets it has. Like, dude, oh my god, I don't even want to think about that. So we're talking developer. This is so bad that developers are legitimately thinking about giving up that much time in order to get on a different engine, that has a more reasonable payment structure, like Unreal Engine, for instance, which just takes a flat percent fee, I believe, of I don't know if it's sales or profit, but it's one of those. And yeah, and like.
Yeah, because I don't even know where they, because even they said free games, they start charging. Like if it gets over 1,000,
even early access, dude. Even early access games would be charged.
Yeah, I think they said the only games that won't they won't charge as charity games.
Charity or demos,
Yeah.
specifically demos that are not intended to be the full game. So yeah. Yeah, I'm sure there will be an update to this probably in the next week. So I don't know. I think we'll leave it there for now and revisit this next week, assuming there's some movement on this. But yeah, I'll definitely be following this one closely because I mean, outside of Unreal Engine, I mean, Unity is the other big third-party engine, that a lot of developers use. I mean, fucking Blizzard's use Unity, dude. Like Hearthstone's on Unity, I think. So dude, there's
Oh my
tons of big
God.
games out there that have used Unity. So
I can't
it's
believe like they're not speaking out against this. I mean, even I could understand wanting to keep it private, but like, yeah, man, I don't know. I would definitely say something about it, but
yeah,
whatever.
I'm sure they are behind the scenes. I would be surprised if they're not. All right, let's move on. We still got a few more stories to get through. The next one is about Embracer. There's a report out there that they are looking to maybe sell Gearbox. And this is so okay. I want to preface this by saying I think we've kind of missed some. Um, we've reported on elements of this situation with Embracer in the last
Mhm.
few months, but I don't feel like we. I'm realizing it now. I was as I was thinking about this today when I was putting the stories together that like there's some connections here that we haven't made on the podcast. Where remember that 2 billion deal that fell through that they had announced or whatever that they were trying to get 2 billion in funding,
Yeah.
and it fell apart at the last minute. There was that, and then there was a earnings call, I think, where they announced a whole plan to divest themselves from a bunch of studios and close studios, sell studios, potentially sell IP. In order to get themselves, because Embracer is like severely over leveraged, like they have a ton of fucking debt right now. Like we're talking billions of dollars of debt. And with the way the market is right now, debt is really bad.
Yes.
Like
Yep.
yeah, borrowing money is very costly right now with the level of inflation and the interest
Yeah.
rates that are going on. So Embrace is in a really bad spot as a result. And that $2 billion deal that fell through was the catalyst for, because remember, we talked about Volition closing a week or two ago, the Saints Row studio. And that was, I believe, the beginning of the result of all of this, that this is part of their plan and they're picking and choosing certain studios to close. Essentially close, and Gearbox now is on the not on the chopping block, but potentially a sale candidate, which is funny because they just bought them 2.5 years ago. You know, and this is the result of their probably safe to say reckless spending spree that they've been on for the last several years, buying studios, IP, and not actually making games that are selling. And they are now kind of reaping what they've sown. And I don't think Embracer is in trouble in the sense that they're going to go out of business per se, but they're going to look severely different probably by the end of this whole process. So the story we're reporting on here or talking about here is they're planning to sell Gearbox, but I wanted to give that preface as because we haven't really talked about that element of all of this with some of these stories. So, Montrell, does it surprise you though? I guess that Gearbox is a sale candidate for them because I mean you would think that Borderlands would be worth keeping to make games and make money off of.
I think they're worth selling because yeah, I think that's exactly why they want to sell them because
Yeah,
they have a high value and they can get a lot of money off of them.
right.
As much as we don't like Borderlands, I still think the IP is strong. Still, Gearbox is still strong.
Mm-hmm.
They're still well known. Um, so you can definitely sell them for like maybe 1 billion, in my opinion. But
Yeah.
you might get strong arm now since people know of your desperation. So
Yeah.
you might get strong arm for like 500 million or something like that.
Yeah, a lesser
Yeah.
amount. I mean, I was thinking the same thing with Square Enix Studios, right? That they just bought. I mean, they bought them for cheap. What I perceive to be cheap. They could turn around and sell them for a higher price potentially.
Yeah.
Depending on the buyer. I mean,
I
I would
did
think.
we ever figure out what that $2 billion deal they lost
No,
was?
we don't know who that investor was.
Okay.
I think I speculated at the time that it might have been the Saudi Wealth Fund, the Savvy Games
Mm,
Group. But Microsoft was also probably a strong guess there, or maybe Tencent.
I wonder what happened because this sounded like it was like a 100% deal going, a 95% deal of going through, and then at the last minute something came up, and I
Yeah, it
wonder
was
what
like at
that
the
was.
11th hour they backed out.
Yeah,
So, it's an interesting situation. I mean, Embracer just has too many studios, man. They have like
we
what, like 6 sub publishers under them, and like they have like 100. They said they have like 130 something games in development. You know,
yeah,
that
and
is
we
fucking
said
crazy.
that, we said like, what is going, and remember we were suspicious of it because I was like, if something happens to them, then all these
Mhm.
companies are just fucking gone,
Yep.
and that's what's happening.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, it was pretty weird when they were just buying them all up in the first place. They were coming out of nowhere and just like, hey, we're about to
Well,
buy them, about to buy them.
dude, this is also a cautionary tale, though. If you're looking to sell yourself, like you're an independent developer looking to sell yourself,
Mm-hmm.
like you got to be careful with who you get in bed with, you know? Because yeah, I mean, they can just turn around and close your studio and bang, you know, your thing is gone, even though you got your money. You know, if you really love your studio, though, like, and the team you have and the games you're making, like it could be gone in a flash, you know?
Yeah,
Um, so it's I don't know. They got reckless. They really they've been reckless. Like ever since they were THQ Nordic, they've been doing this stuff, you know. And then THQ Nordic is now a sub publisher of them of Embracer Group, you know. And you know, I think they have Deep Silver as well, Coke Media. Like it's just like, dude, it's and like I said, 100. I think it was 130 games, 130 or 100, somewhere between 130 and 135. I think was the number. That is an insane number of games to have in development. That is like multiple times more than Microsoft and Sony have, you know, in their first party. Like, what is going on here? Embracer, like, I don't even think they make $1 billion a year in revenue. You know, um, so yeah, I don't know. I don't know what their plan was here. I mean, they do have a lot of valuable IP that they've gobbled up over the years, and I'm sure they can sell a lot of it to kind of help bring their debt down. But um, it's not something that, you know, like you said, they're in a position of weakness. People know that they need money, so
yeah,
they're going to use that as a negotiating strategy, you know, to negotiate them down on pricing. So
yeah. I mean, it's gonna be an interesting situation to see, nonetheless. Um,
mhm. All right, fair enough. We will keep monitoring that. If Gearbox does get sold, I would be interested to think by who. I mean, is there anybody that comes to mind? I mean, Microsoft
mm,
maybe. I would hope not personally, but I could
that's
see
really
that.
the only people I can see buying them. I don't really see them meshing well with um
Tencent maybe.
PlayStation. You said who?
Tencent maybe.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can
I mean,
definitely see that.
they're willing to buy everybody. So,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I can
but
definitely see that.
yeah,
To be honest with you.
yeah. But well, whoever it is, if it happens, we will certainly follow up on that when that happens. All right, moving on. We get more sad news. The Immortals of Avium, which was a game that came out like 3 weeks ago. The developer Ascendant Studios has announced that they have laid off about 45% of their staff due to poor sales of the game. And this is, like I said, a few weeks after release of their latest game, Immortals of Avium. This was the first person, basically like magic shooter, quote unquote. That's what they called it. That was shown a couple different showcases in, I think it was at the Xbox one, right? And then wasn't
Hmm.
it also at the Sony one that happened in May?
It was at almost every showcase, even the most
Yeah.
recent one with Keely,
Yes,
I
Summer
think
Games
so.
Show. That's
Summer
right.
Game
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Show. So yeah,
Or Games Fest. Yeah. But it wasn't enough. The game did not sell well enough. As much as like, dude, I remember we talked about this game, and we were both like, you know, it sounds kind of interesting, certainly, or looks kind of interesting. But yeah,
yeah. I
just
have the game wish list on PlayStation, so
yeah,
it's definitely in my list of games I want to buy. But coupled with being released between two heavy hitters, Baldur's
core,
Gate and fucking Armored
Armor Core.
Core,
Yeah.
um,
Oh, and then
yeah,
Starfield too.
and Starfield, yeah. I can give them grace because I didn't even expect Armored Core to be a hit. But for that, but yeah, I mean, I feel bad for them. I just don't really like, there should be room for these type of games. Like this game isn't
Yeah.
it isn't a fucking 5 or a 4. It's an 8. It has an 8 out of 10 on fucking Metacritic, I think, or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe like a 75 or something. But
Yeah.
there should be room for games like this,
Yeah.
and not every game needs to be a system seller or a $10 million copy hit, like, or they fail. So I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't know.
no, this has become, I don't know, DJ was kind of, going back and forth with you today about this,
Yeah.
and about people, I think he was putting this more on the consumers, when you were coming more from the perspective of the developer needed to market the game better. And like I agree with both of you to a degree.
Yeah, I could definitely see both of us being right and wrong, you know.
Like I think that game definitely did need to be marketed better. The showcases that it was shown at are watched by a lot of people, yes. However,
Yeah.
those people are very invested in the video game industry, and there are also other things in those showcases competing for their attention. And a game like this is not enough to me break through that barrier. Like people are there for the big guns. They're there for Starfield. They're there for Spider-Man,
Mhm.
they're there for the big announcements from some of the bigger third party publishers, Square Enix, or as much as this is an EA game, EA didn't really put their whole self behind this game. It didn't really feel
Yeah.
that way, and that isn't enough to me. Like you have to get the game out there more. Like this article from Polygon mentions that their peak when the game came out on Steam was 800 players after launch.
Wow. Yeah.
That's an insanely low number for a game like this, and that number in the last 24 hours has peaked at 74, and that's just like 3 weeks after launch,
Well,
like
it's a
that is.
short game. I think it's like 9 hours long. 8
Yeah,
to 10 hours long or something like that.
yeah. But I get where DJ's coming from on the other side of it, where consumers need to search out games like this more and stop, because there's a lot of complaints out there, right? That it's just a lot of like AAA gaming has become very samey. There's just there's not
Oh
unique
yeah,
stuff out
yeah.
there and things like that. And to his point, like, dude, like it's right here, like this is your unique game. What the fuck were you, kind of thing. But at the same time, I think this is a problem that the industry is kind of in right now. It's really hard to find games, even if you know what you're looking for or the type of game you're looking for. There are tons of games that litter all these genres, like for instance, like I love tactics games, right? I
Mhm.
can go on PSN and look, or go on Google and like Google, tactics games, right? But dude, it's going to show me hundreds, you know, and the idea that I'm going to pick a specific one out of that, like, and it would help that game survive or that developer survive is like, it's such a long shot at this point, I think that's the most daunting task to making a game now is getting it in the public eye and getting people's interest in it. Because time is precious, man. And there are enough AAA games, big AAA games between the three big hardware manufacturers and then even PC actually as well, that, you know, people like you and I, like, we don't have time for games like this, like,
Yeah.
I don't, I can't even, dude, I don't even have time to play fucking Starfield, and I want to play that, and it's like, that is kind of a reality of being an adult, and a lot of gamers now are our age, like a lot of core gamers are our age. So even if you
Well,
want to play a game like this, you might not have the time to,
that's where the crux of my argument was coming from. Like, um, when I was talking to DJ, because I do agree with him, because I say it all
Yeah.
the time on my Twitter, play video games. Because
Yeah.
I mean we
Yeah.
we say it all the time on the podcast. Play more video games. Stop playing fucking Madden, or stop playing 2K. Stop
Yes,
playing Call of Duty
for
and
sure.
everything. So I agree with like it being the consumers, but for this particular case, I couldn't really blame the consumers for that, because even I forgot about this game and I was looking forward to this game.
I know. Right.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I'm like, I forgot about it.
Well, Montrell, how
And
many games on the show do we cover that we both say we're interested in and we kind of want to play and then we never fucking play them,
exactly. And that's what I was trying to tell him. I'm like, even the most hardcore gamer cannot keep up with all these games. And I feel bad for like middleware developers like this, because this is a double A game in my opinion, right?
Yeah.
Even though it came from like a triple A publisher or whatever. And this is the disadvantage of being a middleware uh game company or a double A game company, because uh, people like DJ's like, well, I'm scared for my, it's scary for me because I'm a indie developer or whatever. And I'm like, you have a unique advantage because you're an indie developer. So you only put as much time as you invest as far as your money and everything of that nature. Now, if you're going like
Right.
balls to the wall, bankrupting everything and taking mortgages out your house to
Right.
make this
The
game,
risk is mitigated, right,
yeah.
for him.
So, um, but like for a double A, like they probably are taking out debt.
Their life, I mean, we're seeing it. They laid off 45% of their staff. Their life like hangs in the balance of how well their game sells.
Yeah,
You know?
and like I can point to games like Sifu or whatever the case may be, where it's like that's a middleware, a double A game, but that's still almost like a small indie company. They're in the middle, right, of of games like that, where that was a unique game or whatever the case may be, in my opinion, and it sold really well. But I don't even know if it was because like because Seafood didn't have a lot of fucking ads or anything like that, but people were just waiting for that game to come out, and I think it was because it was a really unique game.
Well, it had a
Not
really
to say
distinct art style also, and it was
exactly.
shown in key situations on some PlayStation. PlayStation was pushing it, certainly,
Yes, that's true. That is true.
which this game did
And
not have that advantage.
exactly. I mean, it was showed at showcases, but I feel like EA really didn't. And I wasn't even blaming the developer. I was blaming EA. I feel like EA should have pushed more
Mm-hmm.
behind this, because you remember like earlier in this year or early last year, they had some kind of like program where they were trying to put, it was called EA First, I think it's called, or something like
Yes.
that.
Yep.
And I think this is one of the games that came out of that program
Well,
as
EA
well.
Originals actually.
Yeah,
I think is what
originals.
you're
There you
talking
go.
about. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's one of
And
these.
Wild Hearts was one of them, and then this game was one of them as well. Um, so I mean, there is an initiative, but like I was saying with him, like there could have been an initiative to where like maybe the CEO said, "Yo, we should make more single player or multiplayer games," and then there's a some kind of board battle going on, right? And it's almost like a Game of Thrones type deal. Like, okay, well, I'll give you this. This executive is battling me on this or whatever. So I'm going to make this game, or we're going to make this game, and I'm going to show you that people don't want to do it. And then you intentionally in the background sabotage the game from being um made, or not being made but being successful. I mean, shit like that goes on all the time. It sounds like I'm making it up, like being a villain for CEOs or executives, but see, battles like this go on all the time in the corporate world. Is That's where the whole concept of like it being cutthroat comes from. So
Mm-hmm.
um I don't know if this was the case with this game, but I do see it just I just find it weird that they did this. This is truly reminiscent of like Titanfall 2, where that
Mm-hmm.
game had the same like thing where it was released between two big ass games, barely had any fucking ads for it, and it died. I mean, they barely made it out with like fucking Apex. You know what I'm saying? Like they barely made it out with that. And then Jedi Outcast. I'm sorry, Jedi Survivor and Jedi Fallen Order. Um, but it's like they barely made it out. So like for this company to have this, like I can't really blame the consumers, because on top of that, like he was talking about with streaming and everything like that. Like I listen to music, but it's like, bro, I'm not gonna go out my way to listen to like everything. Like even my favorite artists, I'm never gonna go out my way to
There's not
just
enough
listen.
time
Exactly. There's just not enough time.
anybody's life to do all
There's
that.
not,
Yeah.
and on top of that, um, we had a clear advantage to finding old like games on the shelves and everything like that. First of all, when's the last time you can rent a game? I
Yeah.
remember there were so many games I discovered. I discovered Mega Man like that. I rented Mega Man,
Yeah.
and I rented Mega Man. I loved it, and I started playing Mega Man like that. And I used to rent it all the time, and then I just eventually just bought it. Or I used to
Yeah.
walk into stores and I just randomly like magazines and stuff like that, right? Like the physical wear that we had to advertise games. That's how I discovered Monster Hunter, on the back of a gaming forum
Mm-hmm.
magazine.
Mm-hmm.
And then I walked into the fucking GameStop. He had one copy of it. And he's like, I didn't even know. I was about to get rid of this copy. And I bought it, and now I'm a Monster Hunter fan. So it's like we used to have these advantages that gamers now, that's why I can't blame them sometimes, because all they do know is Call of Duty, all they do know is Fortnite, all they
And
do know is
that's what's shoved
um
in their face.
that's what's shoved in their face on these like platforms. How many times have you gone to the PlayStation store and you see Call of Duty,
Apex,
Final
Call of Duty,
Fantasy,
Fortnite. Yeah.
Fortnite? You see the
It's the
big
big
heavy
free to play.
hitters.
It's the big free to play games. Yeah.
Yeah, you see the even like the call even the Final Fantasies and stuff like that, or the
Yep.
Ratchet and Clanks or the
There's
Spider-Mans.
marketing behind those games. Yep.
Yeah, and you see those on the storefronts when you go there, but there's not
Immortals
a
of Avium,
store
you would have to search for to find.
exactly.
You're not like that.
And it,
I think that's ultimately what my point is like, if you aren't a game that's going to show up on that front page of like PlayStation Store or the Xbox Store, and you have to search for it, you're in a position where you have to market your game to get people to find it. Like, you have
yeah,
to make people find it. Like, they're not going to find it any other way. There's no organic way to go stumble upon Immortals of Avium, on PlayStation Network. Like, it's not going to happen. Like, so how else is it going to happen? Word of mouth, marketing, or somebody is listening to a show like this, and we're talking
yep,
about it. Otherwise, you're not going to find it. That's the problem I was trying to talk about with GJ. It's like, it just, dude, there's like, there's too many games, literally. Like, it's literally a problem. We talk about game bloat. Well, let's talk about game bloat from a macro level. Like, there's game bloat in the industry. There are hundreds of games coming out every month, you know? And
yeah.
it's like,
It's
how do you
truly
find these games? You
it's
know?
an unsustainable model right now.
Yeah.
From both ends, from that end and from like the budget end. I shouldn't have to take out however much money, put my company in debt just to make a fucking game.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? And this game doesn't even have the best graphics in my opinion. Um,
It looks like a
it's
generic
past,
Western game, dude. Like, if I'm
yeah,
being honest. Like,
yeah, and I don't, and that should be okay, in my
but
opinion.
that is a product of, I will say, this is the consumer's fault, right? Those
Yes,
raised expectations.
yes, I
Because
will.
that the idea that this isn't good enough, even though it looks good, is crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, and I think I had that debate with somebody else too. And he's like, "What do you want all the games to be stylized?" And I'm like, "No, I don't want that, but they don't have to be fucking Rockstar level Grand Theft Auto 5 graphics style or fucking Richer level
It's not
3
even about
style graphics."
graphics, dude. It's almost like not every game it has to be a 10, right? I think there's
Yeah,
a lot of
man.
people out there that get obsessed with the idea of like every game they have to play has to be like some of the best shit ever made, and it's like, no, that's not true, dude. Like, you can play games that is like, playing a 7 is fine if you're having fun. Then who gives a shit?
Yeah, and
You're
I
not
understand
wasting
that
your
we're
time, if you're doing that.
yeah, and I understand too that we're older. Um, and I can't even say young kids will like, if they buy a game, they play the bad game because they don't have enough money to buy, another game or whatever. Now, if you buy a bad game, right, or if you buy a mid game, you remember
Yep.
back in the day, we just had to fucking play it, and we played it
Yep.
to our
You
heart's content until we got enough
you ate
money from
that
our
broccoli,
allowance.
man.
Exactly. So you got your allowance, or you were working like a grocery store, and you got enough money to, buy another game, or your birthday came around, some shit like that, right?
Hmm.
Now, say like you play Immortals of Avium right now, and you're like, it's okay. You can just put the game down and play Fortnite because it's a free to play game. There's so many free to play games now that there's even the bad games or the mid games or the sevens and the eights don't really have to hold your attention anymore. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Well, yeah, and I think another way developers need to think about differentiating themselves is price, right? Like,
yeah,
is Immortals of Avium a $70 game?
no, in my opinion, it should be like $30, $50.
No, I'm asking literally, is it?
Oh, I don't know.
Like, what is it on Steam right now?
Let me
It's
check real quick.
$60. It's $60. But that's the same cost as Armored Core 6,
Yeah,
And that's something developers need to start thinking about, dude. Like, a dev like this, I think it should have been a serious conversation, and maybe it was, that they charge 40 for this game. That's how you differentiate yourself, is say, our game, we're not going to charge as much, because to put it out at 60 and you're going up the same week up against Armored Core 6, and yeah, as much as we didn't think it was going to necessarily like light the world on fire, it's still FromSoft. There's still that element to it. FromSoft is huge. Everybody knows FromSoft now. Like, good luck competing that same week. Good luck. You know, and yeah, they lost. They didn't sell. You know,
Well,
and
the game is actually $70. It may be $60 on fucking Steam. It's $70 on Xbox.
really, wow, that's
Yeah,
crazy. Yeah, that's bad, dude. Yeah, no, they definitely needed to examine that more. Maybe $50, you know,
yeah,
like would have been the number, but it will at least because I mean, this is a lesson like that I feel like the industry's forgotten, right? Because I don't feel like the industry like explores the price scale very much with games. It's either your indie price, like you know, in the $30 range, or your $70 in your AAA, like $70 full price game. You know, and it's
and
like,
I
remember,
hate
do you
that.
guys all forget back in the day? EA had to go buy the NFL license because NFL 2K5 came out at $20 and ate their fucking lunch that year. You know, because EA couldn't possibly lower the price of their game. No, no, no. Madden '05, that was a $50 game, you know. But 2K5 was 20 bucks in an infinitely better game, you know. And that was one of the ballsiest things I've ever seen a company do, and it fucking worked. And it literally shifted the industry in a massive way, caused a major publisher to go buy the NFL license exclusivity, which cost them a fucking arm and a leg, you know,
And
to do
instead of making a better game.
instead of making a better game, you know. And that why did that happen? Well, A, the game was better, but B, the big driving factor was that it was 40% of the price, you know.
Yeah, 'cause I remember that. I remember my parents got it because they're like, "Oh, this is cheaper," and I was like, "I wasn't mad at it." And then I played it, and I was like, "Holy shit, this game's good as fuck."
Dude, it's crazy. And no one's ever done that kind of thing since, you know? Like, think about that. Like, can you
Well,
think of a time when you had a major game like that make that choice?
no, I can't. Not anymore.
No. And if anything, like smaller games made by smaller developers like this that have a lower chance of succeeding in this market, they need to examine that and potentially think about trying that kind of thing. You know, if this game was 50
I
bucks, I think a lot more people might have played it, you know,
I
potentially.
just don't like the whole indie or triple A or bust. If you're not an indie game company, you're dead. Or if you're not a triple A company, you're dead.
Yeah.
It's just it's almost like reminiscences of like our economy, like the shrinking middle class, like
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
shrinking double A class. Like,
Yeah.
where is that? You
Well,
know,
the other issue is our metrics for success in the industry are also out of whack. The idea that
bro,
if your game doesn't sell within the first 2 or 3 weeks of it being launched, then you're a fucking failure. That's a ridiculous notion to me, you know? Or, like, that's
bro.
crazy.
When Square Enix said Final Fantasy 16 didn't meet their expectations, I was like, "What did you want? 20 million sales?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess probably. I don't know. I guess so.
That's insane to me."
You know, and the other thing about that game though is I bet over the course of the next few years it will certainly get up there. In not to 20 million, but it'll probably sell a few million more copies, you know.
Yeah,
And it has a tail. Like, games have tails. That's a real thing, you know. Witcher certainly did. Witcher 3. And Cyberpunk is probably going to have a similar resurgence here in a few weeks when Phantom Liberty comes out. You know, it's like that can happen. You don't Your game doesn't have to sell all its copies at launch, you know. Um, but Square is often, you know, we've had these conversations about Square many times. Like, they're always like that. They always do that shit, dude. Remember when they did that with Tomb Raider? They did it with Deus Ex.
yeah.
Deus
I
Ex
don't.
Mankind Divided was a disappointment. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? Like, you like, your expectations are fucking out of whack, you know? So I don't know.
Yeah, I just think Square Enix is one of those companies. I think they're higher than what they are, in my opinion.
Definitely.
A lot of people place them on that pedestal too, so that's why they think that way. But I don't know. I feel bad for this company, and I hope they bounce back, man. Like,
Yep.
I really
Yep.
feel bad for this studio.
Yep.
Um, I am going to pick up the game still, but I really feel bad for Ascendant Studios, and I hope they pick it up.
Yep. Fair enough. All right. Let's move on. We got a couple more stories.
Okay.
Next one is Mass Effect. there's rumors out there that the next Max Effect might ditch the open world design of Andromeda and go back towards more of what the original Mass Effect was,
Hmm.
which was more, kind of like Starfield, actually, more like a Starfield style design space, I would say. Um, is that what you would want out of this series?
Uh, you know what? Coming back, yes. And then for the next, if the game is successful, the next game, I want it to be more like an open world type deal.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think coming back, just get familiar, you know, have a set story, have it, not linear, but where you can control it and everything. Because the open world for um Andromeda was buggy. It wasn't fun.
Yeah.
Um, it was very node based. Like you go to this node and do this, you go to this node and do this, and then this unlocks, and then you do this. So it was very in the same vein of Starfield, but Starfield has multiple planets, so it's okay. Whereas this one only had like 3 planets, I think, and I was like, all
Mm-hmm.
right, that's it. Um, so yeah, I would actually, if you can, I would say, like the perfect Mass Effect game, if you had it on one world, but one world had like a lot of different bios or
Mm.
uh, environments, and those are really packed and dense. Or you can even have one fucking city and just have it really, really dense, like story paths and all this other stuff like that. To where that open world element doesn't really matter because the
Mm.
story is so open because you have your scope for what you have to control, or it's just a city, and then in that city you're just doing what you need to do in that city. Like that one game I was playing. What was that fucking game I was just playing? YS or Yeast or
Yeast,
whatever
yeah.
Yeast. How they just had the city and that was their scope. And it wasn't like an open field anywhere. It was like you go into the sewers, you go and you unlock different parts of the city based off like the story and everything like that nature. And they knew their scope, they knew what they were doing, and they tackled it. And for Yeast fans, that was enough. You know what I'm saying? And I think they should do the same thing with Mass Effect. I think Mass Effect, they know what their strengths are. They should take like the Baldur's Gate approach and then make dialogue and everything crazy as fuck, but like condense it down to like one world or one city, bro. Like we don't need to go. In my opinion, I don't need to travel the stars. It's not why I play Mass Effect. It is a sci-fi shooter. I am traveling the stars, yes, but
Mm.
it's when I land on the cities and interact with the characters and the
Mm.
environment and the world. That's why I love Mass Effect, and I feel like they
Interesting.
lost that.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I disagree, I guess, in what I want out of Mass Effect. Like that exploration of the galaxy is a huge component of the game that I enjoy a lot. I
Mhm.
am I'm a fucking psycho. I love reading all the dumb made up planets and like what the gas percent makeup is and all this shit.
Yeah, yeah.
I love that
No,
stuff.
not to, don't get me wrong. I do love all that shit as well.
Yeah,
But Mass Effect, I just know how Bioware thinks, right? They have a issue of biting off more than they can chew.
for
As
sure.
much as I would like for them to do that, or maybe they can do that, right? We can still get all that, but just condense it down to like 4 cities on the worlds. But traveling the stars, we can see different lore for different planets and everything like that. Because I love that shit too. Don't get me wrong. But
Hmm.
yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, you're good. But I see what you mean, though. I think they need more of a focus, right?
Yeah.
Also at the same time with the game. And I think Andromeda was trying to lower the scope, actually, weirdly enough, but they got there were too many planets you could explore. And they ended up
Hmm.
probably putting too much time into making those like fun to explore.
Yeah.
But I think the thing, like the game, Mass Effect needs good dialogue. It needs to
Yes.
have an interesting story. Those are like the most important two components. I think everything else is set dressing ultimately. And while it is important, it's just not it's not at the same level to me as those other things I just mentioned. And Andromeda to me like kind of proved that out, right?
Yeah. It just needs hubs. Like Mass Effect 3 had good hubs. Mass Effect 2
Mm-hmm.
had good hubs. Um Couture had good hubs and everything of that nature. Um, and I don't mind that. And if you want to put like small quests or whatever in between those and side quests and everything, you can do that. And I think I haven't played Baldur's Gate from what I hear. That's what Baldur's Gate does. It even though it's like I don't want to say open world, but like it's on a different level as far as like how they design everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think they can learn a lot from the way they did design the RPG elements of that game, the actual story elements of that game, not the battle system, but like the actual role playing. And I think they just need to focus up and do it because you are BioWare was the I don't want to say the originators of it, but they brought the CRPG to the mainstream, in my opinion. That
Yeah.
CRPG-ish type of
Baldur's Gate.
dialogue and
Yeah,
everything.
Baldur's Gate, dude.
Yeah, and for them to almost take the Blizzard approach to gaming, like they're in the backseat now, is so weird to me. Like you let Larian Games come out and do what you should have done, in Dragon Age or in Bio or in Mass Effect. And I don't know. That's pretty scary. I am glad that they're. To me, this is okay from what I'm hearing. It seems like they're realizing early in development that we need to focus up, like you said, and say like, hey, maybe we develop a couple of worlds and we make these hubs and then some side missions for each one, like really entertaining, side missions and everything of that nature, and go from there. And I think that's what they should do, in my opinion. Not every game needs to be open world, and
Yeah.
I think a lot of developers are realizing that, like, not every game needs to be a fucking open world game.
I hope so, man. I'm so tired of this shit. It's like, like, I don't.
I
It's
mean,
not
because
original anymore. It's not. There's no wow factor to open world games. Like the idea that it's open world, we've seen it a million times now. It's not. It's not a selling point to a game. You know.
yeah,
Um,
exactly. Because I think even though Cyberpunk is open world, right? From what I hear, that people that do love the game, like the side missions and everything, are crazy. Imagine if they had another city, like it
but
was
it's
an
it's
open world.
dude, it's open world, right? But the game takes place in Night City, and from what I mean, I haven't played it, right? So I'm just
Yeah,
kind of this is my impression of the game from what I've seen is that the Night City is super dense,
it
and Night
is.
City
It
is the
is.
focal point of the open world. The rest of the
Yep.
open world, like I don't feel like is I've never heard anybody talk about the rest of the open world in Cyberpunk. So I don't think it's that important necessarily. It's there, but it's like not a huge component of the game. And I think Mass Effect, to your point, I think they need to take the same approach, right? You need
Well,
hubs, right? The Citadel was a hub. It was an amazing hub. It was fucking
yeah.
awesome. Everybody like the Citadel is fucking iconic. Like it is an iconic location in any game, you know. And you need that. You need characters, and you also need to, though, at the same time, keep the scope of characters in check. You cannot get to Mass Effect 2 levels of characters. There were like 15 fucking crewmates
Yeah.
in Mass Effect 2. That shit is out of control. That's a big reason I actually hate that game. Not hate it, but dislike that game compared to the other two. There's too many fucking characters.
Yeah.
And like some of them to me are way less interesting than others, and that's naturally going to happen when you have that many. Keep it to 5 or 6, like with Mass Effect 1 and Mass Effect 3. That's what they did with both of those games.
And they actually did it with Andromeda as well. They kept it to like 4 or 5 characters on the side, and that was it. And I like that. And I think Baldur's Gate 3 does the same thing.
Yeah.
And and I like the hub idea or the open linear concept or something of that nature, right? Because I mean, God of War did that,
Yep.
And if you want to explore or talk about, if you as a writer or a game developer, like, I really want to talk about this world, if the game sells well, fucking DLC. Like, how many fucking Mass Effect, in my opinion, set the standard for DLCs. Like, they are Mass Effect 2, especially 2 and 3. I was just like, wow, these DLCs are like, mwah, like, added a lot of content, and it was only if you play them, they're only like 4 or 5 hours, but they added so much story and so much like development in certain characters that you're like, I love this shit. I would gladly pay $10 for this shit.
Mass Effect 2 was really good.
Yeah.
Overlord was really good. That was the one with the AI. That was really cool. And then Mass Effect 3 had 2 really awesome DLCs: the Leviathan one and the Citadel one. Where you have the party.
Yep,
or whatever
and
in Europe.
Omega. Remember
Oh yeah, and
Omega?
Omega. Oh yeah, Omega was really good too. Like, yeah, Mass Effect 3's DLC was awesome, dude. So,
Yeah. So
um,
I don't want them to run into another issue like they did with Dragon Age. Dragon Age Inquisition, loved the game. Uh, but bro, was that shit big as fuck? The
yeah,
hubs that you had, or I don't even call them hubs, they're open. They
yeah.
were um
Need to play this
they're
game.
open world areas.
Yeah,
And I got ratioed recently
yeah.
for Dragon Age or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Because someone said it was offline MMO, and I was like, "What are you talking about?"
Mm-hmm.
And uh, they linked me an article. They quoted me and linked me an article and said, "Have fun." And I guess the development of Dragon Age Inquisition started off as an offline MMO, and they said it was an offline MMO, which is actually what I wanted to talk to you about, but I don't know if we got enough time. But
We
I
can.
did want. Okay, yeah. I don't know. I feel like everyone, if you search up Dragon Age Inquisition offline MMO, that's a thing that a lot of people said. I didn't know this existed
Huh.
until literally 5 days ago.
Interesting. I
Um,
mean, I've not played the game, so I
you
don't
haven't played the
have
game, so
I don't
I
have a
don't want
perspective on
your
this. Yeah.
opinion or your perspective on that.
Yeah.
The thing is, the things they were citing, right? I cite with all RPGs, in my opinion. They're like, oh, the fetch quest, the way the fetch quests are. You have so many fucking fetch
I
quests in
mean,
the game.
plenty of games have fetch quests.
It-
It's not unique to
they're-
MMOs.
Yeah. So there was one aspect of the game that I did forget about, which is you can send you're the Inquisition, and then you can send soldiers out to do other things. And at the time the game came out, it was almost like a phone game type
Mobile
deal.
game, yeah.
Yeah. So you send them out, and then there's a time limit that they have. It's like it may take 4 hours, 3 hours for them to complete this, like real time hours to complete that quest or whatever the case may be. 7 hours sometime.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm like, is that there's like that's like World of War. It's like World of Warcraft, and I'm like, have y'all played WoW? Like, am I stupid? Like, I was just when I was playing Inquisition, I did not get like
Yeah.
WoW vibes. I didn't get Final Fantasy 14 vibes.
14,
But yeah,
yeah.
I got quoted ratioed on it, and people were like coming to my page calling me a dumbass because the person that quote ratioed me had a lot of followers or whatever. But yeah. But my thing is, like, just because a game starts off at development as one thing doesn't mean that it is that thing at the end of the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was saying that for like Resident Evil, or I'm sorry, Devil May Cry, where I was like, Resident Evil or Devil May Cry 1 started off as Resident Evil 4, and then they changed it mid development into Devil May Cry, or early in development into Devil May Cry.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, do we call Devil May Cry a reskin Resident Evil? And then someone had the nerve to say, well, technically it is a retooled Resident Evil. No, it's not. What are you talking? Like, you're just trying to prove a point. Like, it's not.
You just have an agenda at that
Yeah,
point.
like,
Yeah.
so I don't know. That's one thing that
Also,
really bugged me.
why does this matter? Like, who cares if it's a single player? What, like, I don't know, what's the fucking whatever, dude? Is it a good game? Like, I don't like that's
Because
what
they
I
were
care
upset
about.
that it got Game of the Year, and I
In
was upset that
2014?
yeah,
What came out in
2014.
2014? Can anybody tell me what came out in 2014?
Bro, they said
Any other games? Give me another game.
Divinity Original Sin.
Shut the fuck up. I played that game to completion. Shut up. Jesus Christ. It's not that good of a game. Like, calm the fuck down. Destiny 1, ha ha ha. Good one. Laugher. Yep, that's funny.
So, but I was upset because I don't know. Maybe at the time I was just tired of people making stupid comparisons, and I thought calling it offline MMO was just so dumb. And then so many people were like co-signing it, and I'm like, I need people to play video games. Like, I need y'all to just form your own
100%,
opinion
bro.
and
Yeah.
play video games. And then once I researched it, I'm like, that's why that person, the original person, the OP said that is because they probably went on fucking Reddit, and Reddit was like, hey, isn't this an offline MMO, guys? And everybody else in Reddit was like, yeah, I'm gonna suck your dick and say, yeah, it is an offline MMO. And it's like, now everybody
Bro.
has that opinion of it being an offline MMO. And I'm like, and there are people in the comments saying like,
Yeah.
bro, Fetch Quest doesn't constitute it being an offline MMO. Like, what are y'all talking about? Even the combat's not like not an MMO style combat. You know what's an offline MMO to me? Xenoblade. Like, and it's not
Definitely.
even,
Or
and I'm
fucking
reaching on that one.
Final Fantasy 12.
Final Fantasy 12, yeah, and I'm reaching on Xenoblade 1. So it's like Final Fantasy 12, yes, definitely an offline MMO, but it's like I don't know. I need people to play video games,
All right,
and that's
what are the Montrell? What are the games you think came out in 2014? Give me some names.
bro. I can't even.
All right. I'm gonna throw some out here. Dark Souls 2. Ooh, is that better than
No,
Dragon Age
definitely.
Inquisition?
First
Go
of
fuck yourself.
First of all, Dark Souls. It was Dark Souls 2, the remastered First Scholar, Sin of the First Scholar. So that technically.
Oh, so that didn't even come out in 2014. Okay.
No, it came out in 2008, 2009, I think, or 2010 maybe.
Dark Souls 2?
Yes, Dark Souls 2 is an old fucking game.
I thought it was like 2011.
Maybe
Demon Souls was 2009, wasn't it? Or 2008?
Damn, it did come out in 2014. That's crazy.
Man, look at you. There you go. You're wrong.
That's crazy. I'm old.
Man,
yeah.
Get your history straight. What else came out in 2014? Hearthstone.
Okay, yeah.
Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes. Just Ground Zeroes, not the whole
Ground
game.
Zero, not the original game.
Just Ground Zeroes. Is that game of the year? Is that game
No.
of the year? No, fuck off. Bayonetta 2. That might be the one.
No.
Okay. All right. Montreal's played that
first
one.
First of all, it was locked on the Wii. It was locked on Wii U.
Wii U, correct? Yes.
So it wasn't winning off that. So continue.
Montreal, the game that has plagued us on the MPD charts for years, Mario Kart 8 came out in 2014.
I mean, I can see it, but I remember base Mario Kart 8 wasn't really that good.
No, it was all right.
Yeah,
Little Big Planet 3, Sunset Overdrive, Infamous Second Son. I mean, guys, what are we talking about here? This is
everybody skipped over Sunset Overdrive.
This is one of the worst years in video game history, 2014. Like, what are we talking about? Far Cry 4, I guess, maybe. I don't know. Like, Wolfenstein: The New Order. Maybe.
I can get that one. Yeah.
Middle Earth: Shadow of Mordor.
Yeah, okay, that is
South Park. South Park: The Stick of Truth.
That's a good contender.
And then Assassin's Creed Unity.
No, God, no. Remember the release of that game?
The game was broken.
Yeah,
yeah.
I can argue Shadow of Mordor and maybe South Park: Stick of Truth. I can argue those. I'm not giving ground. Y'all can kill me in the comments. I'm not giving ground for Dark Souls 2. I will stand on 2 feet tall.
Who is arguing that this, like, dude, isn't it like, it's like well accepted on the internet that Dark Souls 2 is like the worst one.
Bro,
that is an accepted thing.
There are contrarians out there. I think people are just being contrarians.
They're just being contrarian. They are. No, for sure. They're just trying to get under people's skin. Oh, you know what else came out? Super Smash Brothers for the Wii U/3DS. You remember that dual release?
Oh yeah, I do remember.
You remember that, dude? Yeah. That was the Smash Brothers game for a while. You know.
Yeah.
And it's like it's fallen into obscurity because Smash Ultimate came out and it's just so fucking amazing. You know? But yeah, there was a 4 year period, where the Smash Brothers game was the 3DS/Wii U Smash Bros. Like, but yeah, that came out in 2014 as well. Smite came out. Watch Dogs.
But it depends. It depends on when that came out. Because remember, I think it had a certain threshold where you get Game of the Year. Like if it came out towards like November, October, then no.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, if we're talking about that too, that's a good point.
Yeah.
But I mean, the idea that Dragon Age Inquisition doesn't deserve it amongst the rest of these games. I mean,
that was literally the only good game to come out, and that game was mid.
What I know about all of these games, the ones I played and the ones I haven't, Dragon Age Inquisition is definitely in the conversation, and it's also an opinion, guys. Who cares? Why are we so stuck on this shit? People get so like they want there to be an empirical fact of like what is the game of the year for humanity, and it's like it's not an answerable question,
Well, they were getting mad at me because I disagree with them on it being an offline MMO. I was just like, it's not. It doesn't play like an MMO at all. You need to play more video games. I think they got offended by that because I'm like, you need to play more video games.
Divinity Original Sin, like the first one, guys, like. Stop it. Okay. I know we all love Larian right now and we're sucking their dick super hard right now for Baldur's Gate 3 and Divinity Original Sin 2, and I'm sure they're both excellent games, but Divinity Original Sin, which is ironically of the 3 of those games, the only one I've played, but I will tell you, it's like a 7.5 or an 8. That's where it is. It's not it's not a 10. It's not even close. It's not amongst the best games of all time. It's not even close to that conversation. Sorry, but it's just like stop sitting in your feelings on that. Like, so I don't know, but all right, Macho, we got one more thing. This is gonna be the longest podcast we've ever fucking done.
Yeah,
Hades
sorry
2.
guys.
There was a development update from Supergiant on Hades 2. Early access is starting in Q2 of next year on Steam and the Epic Games Store. Yeah, I mean, you still haven't played Hades, right?
No, I still haven't played Hades,
Brother.
man.
Sorry, I just turned into Hulk Hogan for a second, brother. Dude, like I'm telling you, like if there's any game I could get you to play that I know you would fucking love, like it's fucking.
Everyone keeps telling me to play this game. I just gotta find time to play it. I actually have it. I literally have it downloaded.
God,
and I just haven't played it.
God, just turn it on, dude. Just do me a favor this weekend when you have a quiet moment and you're just sitting in your room and you're bored for a second. You know, like okay, I'll give Hades an hour. That's all you need.
Okay,
and you will be hooked. Like trust me. Like this game is incredible. It's an amazing game. So, Hades 2. Early access next year, probably won't be out next year. It kind of sucks because it's like I would love for this game to come out sooner, but it is what it is though. They need to make the game as high quality as it could possibly be. So I appreciate Supergiant. I have no doubt that this game is going to be really good. Hades 1 is just an amazing game. And I love it. I need to go back and get the platinum someday. Actually, I got pretty far with that, and then I kind of burnt out and moved on to something else. But I need to go back and do that. So, but yeah, Macho, you gonna if you don't play Hades 1 before this comes out, will you play Hades 2?
I'm gonna play Hades 1. I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play it.
All right, that's your homework. All right, man. Well, yeah, our 3 hour. This will probably be a 3 hour. 3 hour. I gotta cut some time here. 3 hour 40 minutes.
Yeah.
At the end, this is definitely the longest podcast we've ever done.
Right? Yeah, and that's because we started early. So
true. Yeah, true. But there was just a ton of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, it was.
I didn't walk into this.
I was gonna say maybe we should I obviously record it right now, right? And I was like, maybe we should split it up into two for the listeners, just like part 1 and part 2.
Yeah,
you know. I mean, we can still do it. We can still do it at that.
And 40 minutes.
Yeah,
this is so daunting.
We can still do it. I think that would be...
man, we didn't do it in a natural way. We're just gonna dump it on. We'll dump it out there tomorrow, and that dude's gonna be fucking losing his mind. 3 hours and 40 minutes. Holy shit!
I think there's only one podcast I listen to that does that, and I think they went like 3 hours and 40
there's one I listen to. They often go 4 hours or longer. So
okay,
it's not an uncommon thing. It's just the problem is for us, right? We're not big, right? Like we don't have a built-in audience, so it's like getting somebody new to sit down and listen to our latest podcast, and it's 3 hours and 45 minutes. It's like, nah, dude. So that's the problem, but it's fine. It's okay. We're here.
Yeah, my podcast, their latest episode just went 3 hours and 40 minutes.
Yeah,
but they're big though, so that makes sense. But
right,
I will say one more thing before we get off. The Metascore for NBA 2K is 67. So we
the
both
latest one?
were off. Yep.
Oh shit. Oh, okay. We were both wrong. Wow.
Yeah, we were both wrong.
67. Yo.
And you want to know what the user score is? 2.4.
No. Oh no. Oh my god, dude, that's crazy.
Yeah, apparently not even IGN was like, we can't look past these microtransactions, bro. This is
that
insane.
bad?
Is
it that bad?
Yeah, you gotta watch the IGN review. He has like a whole 5 minutes dedicated to like talking about why it's so bad.
Okay. Yeah, do you remember when we talked about NBA 2K and DJ would disagree with us about our take on this, and now he's fully on board, Fuck
and you know what? He's right about this game.
Yeah.
As far as mechanics wise, it's probably the best one they've released. But everything else, everything else surrounding the game, the My Career is just it's literally designed to get you to buy more stuff.
That's fucking horrible, man. That's such dog shit. What a terrible world we live in with these sports games, man. Like Madden seems like it's dog shit again too. It's like
Yeah, I watched
not.
Angry Joe's review.
Yeah, I did
So
too. It's just and then I looked at some other stuff as well. Outside of that,
mhm.
just to get some other perspectives, and yeah, it's not good. Like it's like they tried like a 10% harder to make the game better. You know, that's what it sounds like, and it's like,
that
dude,
to me that's insane because they literally like weren't they threatened like if this game is not
dude,
good,
their
they're going-
CEO, yes, came out and said like this is a make or break year for Madden or some shit. Like if we don't see major changes, there's going to be some issues.
and they
Um,
still didn't do anything.
and they still didn't do anything. I think my thing is at this point is I think EA, like I pitched this idea before, and I feel like EA and even 2K, right? They need to just take this and run with it. Like stop selling these games for $70 every year and just
Make
make
them
the
free to
goddamn
play.
game a free to play fucking platform.
Yeah.
Like that's it, and we will have a great game. I trust they could make a great game with that format. Because you're gonna build on it. It'll be built on month after month, every update, and it's like eventually
Well,
they'll have all the features we want instead of what they do now where they take shit out,
yeah, I was
year
gonna say
after
they can
year.
take the Destiny approach with it. You know how
Exactly.
Destiny releases you know, expansion packs or whatever, expansions every
Yeah,
couple
bro,
years
charge
or
us $20 for a roster update. It's fine.
yeah,
It's
20
okay.
bucks for a roster update and then 20 bucks for a new My Career story mode or something like that,
Yeah.
right? Because the My Career has a story mode
Yeah.
and everything. So yeah, charge us for that, and then I think people will buy it, and then you will still get your money off the VC, off the
Yep.
microtransactions, off the Madden Ultimate Team. You're still getting hella money off that.
Well, you know what they'll do? They're gonna make it free to play, but it's gonna be like a really gimped version, and you have to pay like $15 a month to get the real game, like the full game.
Yeah,
And then it's $120 a year, and then you'll pay $20 for the roster update, $20 for the fucking, so even they could fuck this up too. They could fuck that idea up too. So
yeah,
I
that's
don't know.
true.
I don't trust them. Whatever.
Yeah.
Fuck you, EA. And 2K, dude.
It's not
This shit
even
is
an EA game.
unbelievable. Yeah. No, they're just it's wild. I don't know.
Yeah. From every review I've seen of 2K, everyone unanimously agrees this is the most polished experience they've ever gotten. But the My Career, the way the game is designed from the way the game as far as the systems of My Career is designed, like they're what's the word I'm looking for? Like degrading, like where
Oh,
you
degradation.
degradation. There's degradation in the game for your badges, so you can get certain badges, right? Say if you shoot a 3-pointer a lot and you're really good at it, you will get a badge for, we call it like a 3-point assassin or something like that, right?
Yeah.
That badge can now degrade, and you can lose it if you don't use it.
What? What do you? What is going on?
So now you have to like, and then he said even in his review and other reviews too. I've looked it up, and they said like, bro, if you're not even paying for they said getting VC through the regular My Career is so gimp now that you
Like
have
doing
to
it for
pay.
free. Yeah, you have to pay. Like,
You
yeah, you
have to
can't do
pay.
it for free. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Even like just the regular career mode, because I expect that for the players, right? I mean, for the real, if you're doing PvP, I expected that. But like usually you can get by doing the regular campaign and stuff like that. But now they're like, you have to buy it. Like if you don't, you're probably gonna be playing with like a level 65 character
Okay.
midway through the season.
Can you tell me this? Are they doing shit? Do they do shit like you have like daily challenges that get you VC or whatever?
Yeah, you get VC from daily challenges, daily
Brother,
events.
Dude, it's a fucking
and-
gotcha game. Like this is Honkai Star Rail, like that in Genshin Impact. Like they do that shit.
Yeah, you
Wow,
get
dude, is
VC
that,
from winning games and stuff like
what
that.
the fuck is that? Where we're at, man? Like it's just a gotcha game. Like the like 2K.
It's a $60 gotcha game, $70 gotcha.
$70 gotcha game.
I'm sorry. He said he even got the $150 edition of the game. And he still had to pay money.
No, dude. Oh my god. What the fuck?
Or the $100 version of the game, not the $150 version.
Dude,
the $100
that's
version
wild.
of the game.
Oh my god.
So, yeah, we were both wrong. I I graded this way higher. I thought it was only going to lose 2 points because of the gotcha system or the VC system, but they are not happy with this game. So, which is like I said, which is crazy because this is the most polished 2K ever.
Dude, this is making me think though. Like, this is where DJ is right about the Immortals of Avium discussion. Like,
He's right.
Isn't it fucking nuts that people will spend $100, $200, $300 on this useless fucking garbage in 2K and Madden?
Bro, and it's going to be
obsolete, or like these gacha games that I play too, like fucking spending hundreds of dollars, and like you can't even get somebody to pay $70 to play your 10-hour like really well made polished single player game. You know, it's like
it's insane.
He's
right. That's what I said.
No, he is right in that. He is right in that regard.
He's right in that aspect, and totally. I definitely agree with him because I his same argument was for me. Like last week, I was telling people just play fucking video games. Play fucking video games. Oh man, is there anybody else or video games are getting stale? Play fucking video games. We just had like 3 fucking video games released that are fucking good.
There's so many.
And you have the nerve to type that because Call of Duty's not doing well. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. I don't know.
All right, we've been going long enough.
Yeah,
there's a deeper discussion here we'll have someday, but I'm gonna outro the show now. So, guys, if you like this episode, which has been super long, and you're still here, we fucking really appreciate you and we love you guys. But if you like this episode, please like the show, review the show, and subscribe to the show on whatever feed you're listening to it on, and please share it with your friends. Maybe share an episode that's a couple hours shorter.
Yeah.
And if you want to interact with us on Twitter, you can do so at iTrap for the Hokage for Montrell. That is the number 4, not the word. I'm at Thundernut01, and the show is at the Player's Take. And if you'd like to send us a question, you can do so on Twitter, or you can send us an email to theplayerstake01@gmail.com. And we hope you enjoyed this episode this week, and we will see you guys next week. Bye.